as the new Eagles coach, while Ernest Wilson looks to take the Tigers to their first ever victory over Georgia Southern. Two teams separated by 55 miles go head-to-head next on ESPN3. A glorious day at Paulson Stadium in Statesboro, Georgia, as Savannah State and Georgia Southern prepare to go head-to-head and what promises to be a very exciting night here inside Paulson Stadium at the Georgia Southern campus. Kevin Cork and Coach Peter Voss with you. If you look back at the first weekend, yes, both of these teams lost, Coach Voss, but decidedly different feels coming into this contest, especially if you're a fan of Georgia Southern.
Without a doubt. I think a week ago, Georgia Southern proved to themselves and everybody else in the country they can. Now it's a question of we have to. Sooner or later, they've got to beat an FBS team soundly, but they've got to start off with an FCS program today. They've
got their hands full, especially when you consider anytime you drop an opener, you go back and you look at the game tape, and you want to figure out what you can do better. Kevin Ellison is a guy that certainly expects to do better than he did last week.
Well, one of the things Kevin did a week ago was he threw the ball very well. Threw it a lot better than he has in the past. And for them to compete at the highest level, that type of thing is going to have to continue, and his improvement today should be seen.
Ellison with 184 yards through the air last week. Meanwhile, Kershawn Wilson knows it's all about how well he can do, especially with an offense that likes to pitch the football all over the yard.
When your offense is nicknamed the air raid, you have to be very proficient at quarterback. Kershawn Wilson needs to improve, needs to be very efficient today, eliminate turnovers, cut down on the sacks, and they should be fine.
We're going to get to the action here at Paulson Stadium in just a moment. This is ESPN's coverage of college football. Savannah State and Georgia Southern coming up next. Welcome back, everybody. Savannah State and Georgia Southern going head-to-head at Paulson Stadium here in Statesboro, Georgia tonight. A first for the Georgia Southern Eagles. Kevin Cork and Coach Peter Voss with you. And, Coach, their first home game as a FBS squad. Tell me what that feels like for a program that really feels like that they're on the move up.
Well, you know as well as I do, Kevin, anytime you're involved with a school with a tradition rich that Georgia Southern has, playing before your home crowd is an exciting thing.
And the Eagles certainly have a lot of momentum despite that loss last week to NC State. 24-23 the final score. It took a late drive by the Wolfpack just to come up with a victory. Let's switch gears for just a second, Coach, and talk about Savannah State. A very tough opener as they get clobbered by Middle Tennessee. What on earth can you do to improve, especially when you know you have to deal with a very tough Eagle squad?
You have to make progress. However Ernest Wilson defines that within his own program, he needs to make progress. The key to today's game for them to have any chance to win is to get off to a fast start. They have to be efficient offensively, and they've got to come up with a stop defensively.
I like what you said as we were chatting in the pregame discussion about patience. That's never an easy thing for fans. But if you really look at what Savannah State is trying to accomplish, they may be yet a few years away.
Well, and there's no doubt about that, Kevin. And one of the things that I mentioned was everybody's going to have patience Sunday through Friday. On Saturday, nobody has patience. Everybody wants to win, or else you wouldn't keep score, you wouldn't play the game. So this game's important to everybody involved in the Savannah State program today. And what they want to do is right now, as we get ready for kickoff, is to win, but also they've got to bear in mind that the big long-term project is to make progress.
And despite the tough loss, 61-7 to Middle Tennessee State, they do have a home opener coming up next week. Do the Tigers against Fort Valley State, and certainly they'll be looking forward to that. But first things first, the order at hand. They are on the receiving end of the opening kickoff as the Georgia Southern Eagles prepare for the home opener here in 2014.
Georgia Southern won the toss and elected to defer, so Savannah State's going to receive.
That means that Alex Hanks will prepare to kick off. Georgia Southern in the dark blue home jerseys. Savannah State in the orange and white, and that one will make its way to the sideline as we get underway here at Paulson Stadium. For those of you who've never had a chance to come here to this stadium in Statesboro, Coach, I have to say it has really grown up quite a lot since the last time I was here.
Well, it certainly has. From what I've understood, they've raised the seating capacity to 25,000. And we most likely will have the largest crowd ever to see a regular season game here. I understand they had a playoff game where they had a few more people one time when they brought in some portable seats. That's one of the things that Georgia Southern didn't want, to start the game off with a poor kick. Savannah State starts with good field position on the minus 35-yard line.
35-yard line in the shotgun once again. Kershawn Wilson. Quick pass over to the right side, and that one actually, that was Tino Smith stepping in there for Wilson. So Tino Smith flips that one over to the right side for a short gain, second down.
But it was a completion, and the wide receiver out wide missed his block, which you got to do all the little things to be a good, efficient team, and especially in a game like this where they've got to almost play perfectly.
Second down, long yardage for the Tigers. Shotgun formation, trips left, on the move, and getting nowhere is Tino Smith.
Going to bring up that dreaded situation any head coach / offensive coordinator doesn't like. That's a third and long situation. And as I stated a couple of seconds ago, this is a key play for him right now. I know it's early in the game, but you want to convert and keep it going.
Third down and long yardage. Smith in the gun, barking out signals. Eagles creeping close, showing possible blitz. And a flag is down on the play, and we'll let the officials sort it out.
Prior to the snap, false start. 70 offense, 5-yard penalty, third down.
Obviously, Coach Wilson saw something this week in practice or after last week's game where he was not pleased with Kershawn Wilson and decided to start Tino Smith. And here you had a little bit of miscommunication with the snap count, whether it was audible in a play or going to a second choice. But now you've got third and longer.
Longer indeed. Third and about 12 for Smith and company. Under pressure. Tries a little shovel pass. That one is complete right around the 30-yard line, but that'll actually lose yardage, and that's going to bring up a punt formation for the Tigers.
Well, one of the things you say as a coach, even if you just dump the ball off underneath on third down, which he did there, he just added 3 or 4 yards to the punt. With that kind of pressure, he didn't take the big sack, which was important.
So that means the Eagles will look forward to having the football for the first time in this contest. 13 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Opening drive, negative yardage for the Tigers. That one a short punt, should be fielded cleanly, and indeed it is, but swarmed under immediately is Brandon Thomas.
The punt had an awful lot of height to it, Kevin, and that allowed that Savannah State cover team to get down there and be right there when the ball was caught.
So Thomas nowhere to run and nowhere to hide on that punt return there. So that means the Eagles will start just inside their 35-yard line here in the early stages of the first quarter at Paulson Stadium. No score between the Tigers and the Eagles. Georgia Southern's first offensive drive. Here we go. Kevin Ellison, a 300-yard game a week ago, is in the shotgun. Makes the option read, and right over the middle for nice yardage is Matt Breida.
And Georgia Southern basically did what you'd expected him to do. Unaware of what kind of defense that Savannah State would give versus the option, they ran a base dive play and picked up 8.
Second down, short yardage. Full backfield for Ellison. Makes the read, dive right up the middle, and still marching the pile for first down yardage for the Eagles is Matt Breida.
One of the things in conversations with the coaches this week, Kev, is Georgia Southern feels that they're very experienced up front. They can hang their hat on the offensive line. On the other side, Ernest Wilson's a little bit concerned about the youth that he has up front on the defensive line.
So Ellison and company on the march. First down of the afternoon.
You know, one of the things that happened a week ago to Savannah State, a young man by the name of Alfred Ainsley, their safety, had 11 tackles. And anytime your safety has to make that many tackles, that means your front's letting the ball through a little bit too often.
Not quite gashed on that last play there, Coach. A short carry for Matt Breida. That'll bring up a second down and long. Ellison hands it off again, then decides to keep it Little misdirection there. That's exactly how you ride the dive as long as you can and then pull it out if you see an opportunity. Kevin Ellison did and picked up positive yardage.
He was a little bit of a magician on that one because I was following the ball just like you, and I thought it was given to off left tackle myself.
That say more about his ability to hide the football or our ability to see at this age?
Well, I know I have problems that I never had before. But I don't want to take anything away from him. It was an excellent job of ball handling on his part.
Yes, it was. Third down. Ellison looking to his left, fires, has a man. Ball complete inside the 20-yard line. First down after the strike to Zach Walker.
You know something? Zach did a real nice job going up and catching that ball. But at the same point in time, Kevin Ellison rolling left, throwing the ball not just to his left, but downfield to his left to a moving target. Showed some nice poise there, and that was a big play for Georgia Southern.
You mentioned it in the pregame there, Coach, the ability to throw the football by Kevin Ellison, very impressive in that opening weekend loss to the Wolfpack, and he opens up with a nice strike right there to Zach Walker for first down yardage.
He certainly did, and that was a well-thrown ball.
Ellison in the gun, decides to keep it, running left, lowers his shoulder, bowling his way inside the 15-yard line as he makes his way down there for positive yardage, second down.
That's the mainstay of the Georgia Southern offense is the zone read, where it'll be a lot of deception. Either hand it to that first one, keep it yourself on the part of the quarterback, or on a lot of occasions they'll bring a third guy around and they'll run the option off of the zone read. But it's built on deception.
Second down. Looks like a possible dive, and indeed that's the case, and it's Breida to the house. Touchdown, Eagles. Georgia Southern on the board, 6-0.
And as soon as I said it's built on deception, they go ahead and run an old-fashioned power play and just say, all right, we're going to button our chin strap and come after you. And up front, they were very, very effective and in the end zone.
You talked about diagnosing how well this offensive line plays. Boy, they just cleared everybody out.
Yes, they certainly did. Had a nice double team at the point of attack and a kick out, and the back followed it right up there, made a nice little cut, and he's in the end zone.
So Breida makes his way in for the score. The point after coming up here off the foot of Alex Hanks. Kick is up, and it is good. 7-0 as the Eagles soar. We take a quick timeout here on ESPN as our coverage continues of college football 2014. Georgia Southern out in front. Welcome back, everybody, to Paulson Stadium. 7-0 Georgia Southern out in front of Savannah State. The opening drive for the Eagles, and they march right down the field, capped by a 14-yard touchdown run from Matt Breida. That's his second touchdown of the season, and he had a terrific opening weekend there, Coach. 10 carries, 87 yards, and he picked up right where he left off.
He certainly did, Kevin. Anytime you average over 8 yards a carry in a game and then come back with a 14-yard touchdown run, you're doing well.
Big kick this time by Hanks. I'm sure he got a talking to from the special teams coach about keeping the ball inbounds. He does this time, but this time it's the Tigers on a very nice return as the ball ends up just shy of the 20-yard line, and that is where Savannah State will take over, 1st and 10.
Tackle is made by Kurt Olbeck.
Olbeck with the tackle.
Savannah State takes over 1st and 10 at their own 18-yard line.
So they're going to call it the 18 for the Tigers. First down, 10 yards to go. Their second drive of the contest. In case you're just joining us, they actually started out with a new quarterback. We expected the Week 1 starter, Kershawn Wilson. Instead, Tino Smith was in the shotgun throughout in that first drive. This time it is actually Kershawn Wilson stepping in for drive number 2. And anytime you're making switches like that, Coach, tell me what kind of problems that can present.
You know something, it can present problems with rhythm. It can present problems in leadership. It's a question of, the old adage, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any. And that's what Coach Wilson's trying to find out right now. Because the other fact is he's got another quarterback that's been suspended for a couple of games that he hasn't been able to play with. And we saw an illegal procedure in the first series. Here we see another illegal procedure on the part. You get different quarterbacks, different cadences.
Prior to the snap, false start. 77 offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
That's Damian Campbell, and you're going to see a great deal of that. We mentioned earlier that for the coaching staff at Savannah State, this is really about a 3-year process. An outstanding right tackle like Campbell, 6'3", 290 pounds, but he's only a freshman. And you're going to get things like that when you're talking about a lot of youth, especially along the front of the line there. Shotgun formation, second down, and you see the long heave down the sideline, but that one will make its way over to the bench from the rather strong arm of Kershawn Wilson. That'll bring up a long, long third down.
That's very interesting there, because I'll be perfectly honest with you. I couldn't tell if that was just a bad throw or if he purposely threw it away. He was not really under pressure, but that time clock in his head may have gone off, and he said, I got to get rid of this to avoid the sack, because it leaves him in a little bit of a better managing position where they're now 3rd and 10.
It's actually a heady play, you're right, because you'd much rather end up with a 3rd and 10, which, as you point out, Coach, is manageable, versus, say, a 3rd and 16 if you hang on too long and take a sack. A number of dangerous things can happen when you do that. That'll bring up a third down, though, and long for the Tigers. High snap, ball is on the turf, but picked up by Wilson, and he's on the move over the 20, over the 25, and down very close to first down yardage. That's called making lemonade out of lemon.
It certainly is. Kershawn did a great job there of not panicking when a negative thing happened, and in the end ends up turning it into a very big positive as he gains 10 yards and a first down.
Boy, a terrific piece of running there, and tough running indeed by Kershawn Wilson. So first down, that's the first down of the day for the Tigers. Meanwhile, they come right back. This time they test the right side of their offensive line. You see they're trying to move that defensive line out of the way. Helmet flies off, but everybody's okay. That's second down and long.
Yeah, and Joshua Berry will have to step off the field for a minute because of the helmet rule.
2 helmets actually came off their coach, 1 for each club, so both players, according to rule, if the helmet is removed or knocked off in this case, you have to leave the field. So second down and long. You see Wilson in the shotgun, 1 back behind him. Decides to fake the handoff and then finally give up the football. But again, not a lot of running room there, right around the 32, 33-yard line. That'll bring up a third down, and again, long yardage for the Tigers.
It's 3rd and long, but this time, Kevin, it's a little bit more manageable. You're in that 7-8 yard area where you could possibly run a draw play, could possibly run a screen, but I'd expect them to go with a quick throw down the field.
We've seen Joshua Berry, the freshman from Long County High School here in the great state of Georgia, getting some playing time here tonight. Wilson surveys the defense. 4 wideouts, 2 left, 2 right.
Georgia Southern comes with some pressure.
And that one is complete right over the middle, but it may be just shy of first down yardage. That's Homius McDonald making a rather difficult catch, but that should bring up a 4th down and short for the Tigers.
There's a combination there where Georgia Southern blitzed. Kershawn get rid of the ball in a hurry off the hot route. It was not an accurate throw. In other words, the receiver had to go down and catch it and couldn't gain any yardage after the run. But here, Coach Wilson's going for it.
Interesting little early gamble here.
Lots of times as a coach, you have to make something happen just like you do as a player. That's what Coach Wilson's trying to do here. He's trying to make something happen for his football team.
Oh, that is not going to get it done. I like the idea of having Wilson take off with the football on the called quarterback keeper, especially given what happened on that first down run. But this time he runs literally right into the pile and is unable to solve that Eagle defense, and that means that the Eagles will pick up the football on the Tigers, turning it over on downs. First down and plus territory, no less, inside the 40-yard line.
And a lot of people will question that call and say, why would you do that? And I'll go back to the statement that you have to understand where that Savannah State program is. They need to make something happen. And sure, it's a gamble that backfired, and he can go back to say, hey, I tried to win it for us early in the game when he talks to his team on Monday.
Meanwhile, back to throw is Allison, firing downfield, has a man, and a touchdown! Georgia Southern, 1 play, and they go big, make it 13-0 on the strike.
Kevin, they were so efficient in the first drive of handing the ball off. They ran a little play action fake there and threw the ball deep, and one of the Savannah State corners get beat over the top. And Ellison did a nice job of dropping that ball in there. Very, very impressive.
Second touchdown of the season for Kentrellis Showers. As you see, a beautifully thrown ball. Can't say enough about the accuracy. And, hey, listen, that was a nifty piece of catching there, too. Good speed, got behind the defense, and a 1-play drive means Georgia Southern is back on the board now, leading 13-0. Alex Hanks, you got it, makes it 14-0 with the point after try. So 6:52 to play here in the first quarter. 2 drives, 2 scores for the Eagles. And that's our score, 14-0, as ESPN's coverage of college football 2014 continues. We're back after a very quick break. Welcome back, everybody. ESPN's coverage of college football continues here on ESPN3. Georgia Southern leading Savannah State 14-0. Kevin Cork and Coach Peter Voss with you. And, Coach, so far so good for the Eagles as they come right away with that. After getting the ball on downs, they come right up in that one-play strike for the score. Yeah,
they caught Savannah State napping a little bit and made a nice throw, real nice throw by Kevin Ellison. The interesting part now coming up is we've seen 2 series by Savannah State, different quarterback each time. Which quarterback will come out now? If we go back to Tino Smith, we may very well just have a rotating quarterback system going. If he comes back to Kershawn Wilson, he may think that Kershawn played a little bit better than what Tino did. So it'll be interesting.
Yes, indeed. By the way,
I think I'm seeing Tino over there, but that could just be a bunch of people in the huddle right now.
Well, they're trying to figure out a way to move the football. We did notice that a first down was picked up in the last drive by Kershawn Wilson. They did go for it on 4th down, and they were unable to pick it up. And as we take a look here, it looks like you're right, Coach. It's going to be Tino Smith, so a platoon situation, or so it would appear, here in the early going for Savannah State as the Tigers get the football. This time it's Tino Smith and the shotgun formation. His club is trailing 14-0, man in motion to his right. Quick swing pass, and the ball is dropped. That should be an incompletion, but I'll have to double-check the ruling. And indeed, the men in stripes agree with me, so that's an incomplete pass, 2nd down.
A big part of a spread offensive football team is throwing the ball laterally, where you throw it down the field just a little bit, but to them it's nothing more than a wide run, and that's what this was supposed to be. Ball gets dropped, and it goes down as an incompletion. Now we got to see Savannah State getting a little bit more aggressive and start to throw the ball downfield a little bit. If they want to get into this game at all, they've got to create some excitement through the play calling and through the aggressiveness of the ball down the field.
Single wide out left and right. Smith quick fires to his left, and that was actually very good defense out there on the part of the Georgia Southern defender. Nick Wright is right there to break it up. There's a great number. If you are familiar with Savannah State, you know they have a Hall of Famer by the name of Shannon Sharp, who made that number look very good in the National Football League.
I believe he was a pretty good player.
Yeah.
At every level he was at.
I'll say, right? A couple of Super Bowl rings to his credit. Maybe even 3. 3rd down, you see Wilson takes a couple of shots. There's the ball. It's picked up, though. And it will be finally hauled in by Savannah State. You see Johnny on the spot right there was Joshua Berry after the hard hit sprung the football from Tino Smith.
The interesting part, Joshua Berry needs to get his helmet straps adjusted. That's the 2nd time his helmet's come off today.
You're right about that, but boy, that ball, a little hat on the ball, and that could have been a real problem for the Tigers. If the Eagles pick that up, we could be looking at a 21-0 score here with 6 minutes plus to go in the first. Instead, the Eagles will receive the punt as this one goes off the side of the foot of Jacob Thomas. And that is not a lot of yardage, and it's certainly not what the doctor ordered if you're a fan of the Tigers. See the official walking.
He's still walking. He just barely walks over to the positive side of the field. So I think Georgia Southern's going to start with the ball on the plus side of the field again.
Very close to the midfield stripe. So the challenges continue for this young, and I emphasize young, Savannah State squad, still trying to put it all together. They're coming off of a humbling opening weekend against Middle Tennessee State on the road. They lost that one 61-7.
And one of the things that they have to remember is Coach Wilson's been successful at places he's been in the past. The coaches that he has with him have been with him before. So they just have to stick to their plan and be patient.
Little option to the right side. Little fake pitch and kept. And for positive yardage on that one is Fabian Upshaw, who is in now for Kevin Ellison.
Fabian Upshaw from Astronaut High School in Titusville, Florida. I remember Fabian well. He's a heck of a high school football player, and I'm sure he'll be a very, very proud Georgia Southern Eagle.
One that got away if you're a Sunshine Stater, but of course there's a ton of great prep talent in the state of Florida.
This is a great opportunity for Fabian and the Georgia Southern program, where Coach Fritz is showing confidence in people and putting them in the game when the game means something, taking some meaningful snaps.
You see there once again the option, and this time it's a dive play. Again, positive yardage for the Eagles as they inch ever closer to first down yardage. That'll bring up a third down and very short.
Number 96, Jeff Ward, is by trade an offensive guard, but they've put number 96 on him this week to make him an eligible receiver, and I see he just ran on the field, so it'll be interesting to see if he's targeted on this particular third down player, if he's just there to block.
Slightly high snap, carry over the right side, and that is a nifty piece of running for first down yardage by L.A. Ramsby.
I zeroed in on Jeff, and unfortunately he just did the thing he's done all the time from the guard spot. He just did it from 2 spots wider. He blocked as a tight end.
And instead it's Ramsby, who actually had a little action a week ago. He's a shifty runner, but I really like the way he moves. He has that kind of vision that you would expect out of a big-time running back, and that is good enough for the first down. So it's Upshaw once again. Dive play, keeper, right side, over the 35, right around the 34-yard line, second down after the positive gain there.
Savannah State did a very nice job on that one. They closed the end, which gave Fabian the keep read, but then they scraped the linebacker, and Fabian had to stick his foot in the ground and get north and south and get the ball just past the line of scrimmage for a couple-yard gain.
You mentioned something interesting a moment ago, talking about getting a player like Upshaw an opportunity while the game still matters. This is invaluable stuff here for the Eagles. Upshaw, keeper, rolling to his left, steps up, has a man, fires, complete. That is a strike, but boy, did Showers take a wallop.
And Kevin, one of the things that we're witnessing today is the development of 2 programs. They're certainly not starting at the same spot. Savannah State has to make a lot of progress so they get in the win column. But Georgia Southern wants to develop depth, so as they go down their schedule in the season, they've got people that are ready to play week in and week out.
Showers picking up the first down. He's now in sole possession of 7th on the all-time Georgia Southern list with his 8th career touchdown reception. That one coming earlier in this quarter, the 38-yard strike to make it 14-0. This time it's Fabian rolling, and I do mean rolling, all the way inside the 10-yard line. That is good enough for another Georgia Southern first down.
You know, people always use the term from an offensive side of the ball, be efficient. In other words, you want to gain 4 or 5 yards on every play. Georgia South has certainly been doing that. They have done an excellent job of putting themselves in positive down and distance situations.
Good job of blocking over there by Nardo Govan. Maintaining his block long enough to allow Fabian to pick up those yards. Meanwhile, the dive, not a lot there. That one to Breida, second down.
Tackle made by William Broadbent.
No, but we're in a position where you want to be totally efficient. You got first and goal on the 8-yard line, and anytime you get inside the 10, you want to come away with a touchdown. You get inside the 20, you're happy if you come away with a field goal. You certainly want to score touchdowns, but when you're inside the 10, touchdowns become very, very important.
You saw Upshaw checking the sideline. Second down and goal. Decides to throw it, has a man. Ooh, and just missed on the opportunity in the end zone. That'll bring up a third down, and I'm not exactly sure, but it looked like that was just a little bit too low for the intended receiver.
It was a little low, but at the same point in time, for a young quarterback, Fabian Upshaw did a nice job. The receiver that he throws to is the one coming across from the far side, puts the ball down there low, and the receiver should have caught it.
Yep.
It's going to go as an inaccurate throw if I'm grading the quarterback, but it's also going to go as a drop if I'm grading the receiver.
Crockett should have had that one. That'll mean third down. We'll see if they go back to the well and do it again. Instead, they run to the left side. Keeper, touchdown! Upshaw, no problem. Make it 20-0 as the Eagles continue to soar.
Again, a very efficient drive. Good completion by Fabian Upshaw on 2nd and long. You know, the drop in there in the end zone on 2nd and long down on the goal line. Then an excellent read on here. It's the option play, just a speed option to the left. The gap opens up, and he sticks his left foot in the ground and goes into the end zone.
An embarrassment of riches for Coach Fitz. First career touchdown for Upshaw. The point after coming up here from Alex Hanks. It's true. Make it 21-0 as Georgia Southern is off to a hot start. This is ESPN's coverage of college football. We're back at Paulson Stadium after this quick timeout. Welcome back, everybody, to ESPN's coverage of college football. Georgia Southern out in front of Savannah State, 21-0. And for the coaching staff over at Savannah State, it's a matter of building slowly. You'd like to build a bit of momentum heading into your home opener a week from now. It has not been easy thus far, the 2014 campaign. On the heels of a 61-7 whitewash at the hands of Middle Tennessee State, they find themselves trailing 21-0 here at Georgia Southern. That kickoff is too deep for a return as the Eagles jump out to the early start. But we did mention that the Tigers actually did have some positive news a week ago. They were actually over 100 yards on the ground against Middle Tennessee State. And despite the early season toughness, these first two games will be very challenging for them. They do have a couple of opportunities, I think, to pick up perhaps a few victories along the way. They'll be certainly pointing at that Fort Valley State contest a week from today at home.
One of the key things, Kevin, for the players and for the coaches and everybody involved, and I'll become very redundant here, but they have to stay positive. When you get off to a bad start, people start to be thinking negative thoughts, and you can't do that. You got to stay positive, understand what your goals are, make progress.
Coach Wilson in his second year over there at Savannah State, platooning quarterbacks right now. And speaking of, you see Kershawn Wilson is back in the contest. That one is complete over the left side for a short gain, 2nd down.
And even with the completion, the receiver bobbled it, so instead of gaining 10, he gains 5. It cost him a step or two before he really had full control of the ball. Kershawn still needs to continue to be efficient, complete the football.
Cantrell Frazier on the receiving end, 2nd down for the Tigers. I hear a whistle, I see laundry, and that usually means illegal motion on the part of the offense. We'll see if I'm right here.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 5, offense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Of course, I have a good view.
Kevin, one of the things that every team has is they have their own version of don't beat yourself. When we were walking through the Georgia Southern locker room yesterday, we couldn't help but see their plan, and a part of their plan is Eagles don't beat Eagles. Well, as you turn it around, Savannah State's now committed 3 pre-snap penalties in a very short time, and that's cost them 15 yards of offense.
Well put. Have to eliminate the pre-snap and post-play penalties. That's part of the plan to win for the Eagles.
Prior to the snap, false start. 70 offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
One of the things that's very noticeable about Savannah State is when you look at their 2 deep, you see that there are 15 out of 44 that are freshmen. You're seeing that youth come through loud and clear right here. Where we've had 2nd and 5, we're now 2nd and 15 because of some jitters, for lack of a better term. People jumping off sides, not being disciplined. You can't beat yourself.
See what Wilson has in store here. Looks to his left, fires that one off the mark, and very tight coverage over there by Wright and company. That'll bring up a 3rd down.
It's 3rd down and 15 yards to go. And a couple of seconds ago, we were facing 2nd and 5. So this is going to take a play down the field. If you recall, I think the only first down Savannah State has picked up was on a broken play when Kershawn Wilson picked the football up and ran with it. So we got to see what Coach Wilson has up his sleeve here.
Indeed, that's the only first down thus far for the Tigers. 4 wide outs. Heavy pressure. Firing downfield is Wilson. That one up for grabs, and it could be, it might be, it is intercepted. Deion Stanley coming up with it for Georgia Southern as the Eagles take over just outside their 40-yard line.
Well, there's an expression in coaching as a quarterback when you're throwing the deep ball, you want to give the receiver a chance. So you want to put some air underneath it and let the receiver run under it. But to be perfectly honest with you, this one was just heaved. It's thrown up there with a lot of height. Almost looked like it was going to get fair caught.
Well, it's probably just as well as a good punt if you think about how things have gone here in the early going for the young Tigers. And so the Eagles now take over. Latter stages of the first quarter already leading 21-0. Upshaw hands this one off. And again, tough sledding on the inside, but
Handoff goes to number 28,
a gain
Kevin Scott.
for Scott, second down.
Tackle made by Marquis Smith.
One of the things that's going to challenge you as a play-by-play guy today is keeping up with all the numbers that are going to be out there.
Gain
So,
of 4.
again, we have another new back in there for Georgia Southern. People getting productive time at key moments of the game. We're still in the first quarter.
What a huge opportunity this is for the coaching staff. A chance to see the young players and give them some little encouraging playing time, but also to build the depth that you talked about, Coach. Second down.
Well,
Upshaw running to his right. Wanted to pitch, instead kept it. He is swarmed under, but very near the midfield stripe. That'll bring up a third down and short. That may be the last play of the first quarter as we watch the clock wind down, now inside 15 seconds here in the first quarter, which has been all Georgia Southern thus far. And it does look like they will let this one go ahead and run down. We're now about 5 seconds in. Let's see if Upshaw decides to maybe take one last snap. 3, 2, 1, and will not get that play off. So that's going to do it. For one quarter of action here at Paulson Stadium, it has been all Georgia Southern as they lead 21-0. This is ESPN's coverage of college football. Quick timeout. We're back with more after this. Welcome back, everybody, to Paulson Stadium. Georgia Southern moving left to right on your screen in the blue, hosting Savannah State in the orange and white. 21-0 is our score as we get underway here in the second quarter. Kevin Cork and Coach Petervoss with you. And Coach, you predicted in a conversation just before the contest that this might be a big day for the Eagles offense, and so far, so good, as they have played a pair of quarterbacks, including Fabian Upshaw, who has it right now. And he makes a pitch over the right side, and that could be good if you're a fan of the Eagles, as L.A. Ramsby gets over the first down yardage as he is inside the 45.
They're running the option, but just as impressive was the back that was out in front that could block for the back that caught the pitch. But it was well executed by Fabian. He was poised, made the correct read, picked up another first down.
He's got twins to his left and one back behind him. Fakes the dive. Looks like he's going long. He's got a man. The ball is right there. Down! Georgia Southern does it again, and Upshaw is rolling.
That's a pretty impressive throw. Put it right there. It was up high where the receiver could go catch it. And it may have been the same throw that we saw earlier, except this time it was down to a slot instead of out to a wide receiver. But Fabian does a nice job, sets his feet, lets it go. Lets it go.
Say enough about the job done there by Kentrellis Showers, who is having a huge night. That is his second touchdown catch of the evening, both of the long variety, and this time it makes it 27-0 Eagles, with the point after coming up off the foot of Alex Hanks. Kick is up, and the kick is 28-0, 14:35. We are just underway here in the second quarter, and plenty to cheer about if you're a fan of the Eagles.
And the Eagles just reached the end-mark end zone.
Welcome back, everybody, to Paulson Stadium, and it is a glorious night for football in Statesboro, Georgia, and a fun night if you're a fan of Georgia Southern. Military Appreciation Evening, and plenty to be thankful for, and we certainly thank them for their service to their country And the Eagle fans are thankful right now as their club is out in front. Coach Voss, 28-0. I wanted to ask you about the difference in the quarterback play between Ellison and Upshaw. I'll get to that in just a moment. I want to focus now, though, on Savannah State as they prepare to take over once again. They've actually been platooning quarterbacks, and we can maybe talk about how they are a little bit different in each and every drive. That kick is up, and it should be returned. And indeed, it will be the case. This time over the 20-yard line, make it near the 25-yard line. And that, oh, but the ball is loose.
You know something, Kevin, you just mentioned fun. I don't know who's having more fun today, the guys that are on the sideline with the blue uniform on, or the kids that are in the end zone, what they refer to as the field screens. They're all just running up and down the field now.
Wayne Johnson fumbles on the play. Raekwon Sam coming up with it there for Georgia Southern. And to add insult to injury, if you're a fan of the Tigers, you've just given up the long touchdown pass to fall behind. Here in the early stages of the second quarter. And now you give it right back on the ensuing kickoff. And that means Kevin Ellison and company will have the football.
And it was a great return. Brought the ball out to positive yardage. It was out past the 25. But you know as well as I do, if you're gifted enough to have the ball in your hand, you better protect it.
Quick dive to Breida, who is right at the 20, inside the 10, inside the 5.
Something tells me Breida's average of 8.7 from last week may go up a little bit this week. I tell you, the young man has great instincts, he's got great eyes. As much as anything, he knows to get downhill. He sticks his foot in the ground and goes hard. A little patience, sees that hard. A little patience, sees that and goes. Reads his block of the wide receiver and then sticks his foot and gets it inside the 5-yard line.
I'm glad you mentioned that. You saw Koo blocking downfield for the Eagles. Allison hands off again. Bowling his way very near pay dirt, but just shy is Breida.
Well, there's one thing Georgia Southern has done by being down at this end of the field. They've stopped the Georgia Southern has done by being down at this end of the field. They've stopped the Field of Dreams story yesterday was a great one, and we'll get back to it as far as traditions are concerned.
Stopping.
Timeout. Savannah State. That is the first timeout of the half.
Tigers want to talk it over as the Eagles are now on the doorstep. Very nearly to make it 35. Very nearly to make it 35.
One of the things that I was very impressed with yesterday is the number of traditions that exist here. And one of the things that they talked about with the new football building that they've built here to the end zone to our right is what's going to happen to the end zone. You can't put that building there and take away the end zone because the kids played in the end zone all the time. Well, what they did is they went out and they raised $250,000 to AstroTurf a little pod there. They've now called it the Field of Dreams, and the kids are still playing in the end zone. So it was a great way of moving forward, yet maintaining a tradition that has existed here since 1982.
And a rich tradition it has been. We mentioned in the pregame multiple national championships at the FCS level. Now playing at the football bowl subdivision for the first time. And that's another touchdown. Didn't take much. And esteem and rewarded for all of his hard work is Matt Breida. And why not? It's been that kind of day for the Eagles. They've gotten it done, Coach, through the air, and they've certainly gotten it done on the ground, and that's whether the running was being done by Kevin Ellison or maybe an Upshaw, or in the case of that touchdown and another, Matt Breida has been bullish as the Eagles look now to make it 35-0.
Matt Breida may not want to be given the ball down there anymore, even though touchdowns are good. It's killing his average. He's probably averaging about 10 on the year, and that one just cost him. What was that, a 1-yard run?
And of all the things that have gone right, the kicking game is not one of them. Alex Hank kicks one out of bounds and then just misses on the point after to make it 34-0. No biggie, though. His club's leading comfortably. Quick timeout. Welcome back, everybody, to Paulson Stadium. Georgia Southern out in front of Savannah State, 34-0. 5 touchdowns for the Eagles. They missed PAT from Alex Hanks, the only downs note here at Military Appreciation Day at Paulson Stadium. Kevin Cork and Coach Peter Voss with you as Hanks and company are prepared once again to kick off to Savannah State. They called timeout there, Coach, as the Eagles were right about to punch it in. I'm just curious from a coaching perspective what that would be all about. Is it just sort of to tell the guys just relax, calm down, or is there more to it?
As I watched it, I think they had the wrong personnel on the field. But at that point in time, it's probably not to coach them as far as what's going on. It's probably more to get the right people in the right place.
Frazier on the return for the Tigers. Looks like he is just shy of the 20-yard line. That'll bring up a first down, 10 yards to go for Savannah State. Not a lot in the way of offense in the early going here for the Tigers. They did have a terrific first-round run at one point.
Well, one of the big telltale differences in this game so far is Georgia Southern has not missed on third down. And at the same point in time, Savannah State, I believe, has only had one conversion on third down, and that was off a broken play when Kershawn Wilson picked it up and ran for the first down.
Got a good look there at Arshawn Spalding. Shotgun formation for the Tigers, who have been platooning quarterbacks. This time it's Smith looking under pressure, and he goes down. Antoine Williams is there for the sack.
One of the things a young quarterback has to do is get that clock in his head going. If there's nothing there, you can't hold the football. Coach Wilson has done a nice job of making a lot of plays, quick passes so far, so he could get it out of his hand. And they were proud of the fact they only gave up one sack a week ago. Tino Smith here needs to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker.
Second down and long for Smith and the Tigers. Under pressure again, and I'm not sure if he had a second and a half before he was swarmed under by that very speedy Eagle defense. Third down and long.
Now, this is a point in time where on the sideline, coaches have to do something to create some kind of enthusiasm and focus on your offensive team. You're playing with some young kids up front. They've got to make sure they're ready to go on every snap, because you're exactly right. That was just a swarming Georgia Southern defense that was in there in no time. We see Coach Wilson scratching his head, wondering, all right, what's coming next?
He has a lot of experience, and the brain trust there at Savannah State believe in the process. They'll have growing pains along the way, and tonight is an example of that as we have a whistle here, and it could be a false start. Let's double check.
I've known
the snap, false start, 70 offense.
I've known Coach Wilson for a long time. He entered Allegheny College as a young graduate assistant back in 1990 and was involved with a national championship team there. He's had tremendous success with offenses and indoor teams over his years. I know he'll stay patient. He'll stay positive with these players. He'll use today as a teaching thing. Even in between plays, he'll teach those kids on the sideline.
Looking for his first victory here in 2014 and a first victory in the state of Georgia. Can you believe in all his years coaching, he's actually never coached a game here. Under pressure and then scrambling. Out of trouble, at least momentarily, is Smith.
Tino Smith on the quarterback keeper.
That'll bring up a fourth down and a country mile as he makes his way just over the 10-yard line.
He's knocked down by Quan Daniels. Brings up fourth down for Savannah State.
Rare opportunity to return a punt here for Brandon Thomas.
The interesting part here is it's going to take a good kick and great coverage to keep Georgia Southern from starting on the plus side of the field again, because the young man standing right there on the 50.
Collected by Thomas. No block in the back. Over the 45 and wrestled down right around the 41-yard line.
Kevin, when you said no block in the back, you just mentioned good discipline. You mentioned coaching the little things, and that's what allows a team to win. The Georgia Southern player pulled off, was disciplined enough not to make that mental mistake of, boom, I'm going to cost us 15 yards. That's good coaching on Coach Fritz's part.
We haven't had a chance, Coach Voss, to talk a lot about Coach Fritz, who has come over into a program that already, it's one thing to sort of rebuild and sort of have these projects where you have to sort of pick a program up from the bottom. He comes here, and he had a program that was already doing great. Allison on the pitch, makes a late pitch, and that one is good all the way down the field inside the 20-yard line. Big-time carry there by Olbeck.
And the one thing that Coach Fritz has done is he's embraced the traditions, every single one of them. And there are probably too many for us to talk about here, but he enjoys being a part of it. He does everything he can to enhance it. He was really proud when he was telling us yesterday about the Field of Dreams and what they did to accommodate a tradition that has existed for young kids playing the game.
Devin Scott on that carry over the right side. This time it's Ramsby. Boy, I really like the way he moves with the football.
He's one of those backs that runs with an awful lot of patience. You know he's got another gear, but he just slid left and slid right, but kept going north and south with every step. Nice job on that run.
Reminds me a lot of those young running backs over at Alabama. We'll have to keep an eye on L.A. Ramsby. So make it back-to-back first down runs for this high-powered Eagle offense, already leading 34-0. And within striking distance once again. First down, goal to go. Ball inside the 10-yard line. Ellison with a man in motion. Fakes the dive. Makes the pitch to the right side. And that is going to be very close. And indeed close enough, but not quite in as he steps out of bounds just before carrying it into the end zone.
That's a heck of a run, though. He kept his balance. And you're right, his right foot did step on the line. So he's out of bounds. Ball spotted on the 3-yard line, I believe.
Good discipline there by Kevin Ellison to make the pitch at the last second. Want to make the defender choose the football or the runner. Read to perfection as the men in stripes now want to get together and talk it over.
The previous play is under further review.
Going to see if he indeed stepped out. If so, where? If not, it would be a touchdown.
I'm under the understanding, Kevin, that the replay people are looking at different cameras than what we are here. But one of the things that they have to do is they have to find indisputable evidence that to change the call. So they have to assume the call on the field is correct, and then they will make a decision by every angle they can get. And usually in a game like this, there are probably 3 or 4 cameras, one in each end zone, maybe one on a sideline. And it's the replay official upstairs that'll make the call, and he'll convey it down to the official on the field. But it's a potential scoring play, and all those plays have to be reviewed.
If Crockett is not credited with a touchdown, it'll still be a goal-to-go situation for the Eagles. If they overturn the call made on the field, that would make it 40-0 Georgia Southern, with more than 10 minutes to play in the first half. As we take another close look at it, you see the late pitch here by Ellison. Watch the feet of Crockett. He's got it. Is he inbounds or not? Tough to tell from that angle, but at first glance, it looks like he remained inbounds, which would mean a touchdown for the Eagles.
The other thing to bear in mind now is we don't have the same angles that they have in the replay booth.
After review, the ruling is the runner did not step out of bounds. Touchdown, Georgia Southern.
And there you have it. Touchdown, Monte Crockett on the pitch from Kevin Ellison. Make it 40-0 Georgia Southern.
The replay official obviously saw something that was crystal clear, or else he'd have said the call stands, and they'd have left it like it is. But it was a heck of a run. The young big Crockett showed great balance on that play, bounced a couple times and got himself into the end zone.
Crockett, fine hands as well. He certainly can catch the football, but in that case, he takes it on the pitch and lets his feet do the talking and the walking. Make it 40-0 as they line up for the point after from Alex Hanks. Kick is up, and the kick is good. So you can make it 41-0 Southern. Out in front here with 10 minutes plus to play in the first half. This is ESPN's coverage of college football. We're back after this. Welcome back, everybody. Beautiful night in Statesboro, Georgia for college football. It's Georgia Southern out in front of Savannah State 41-0. with more than 10 minutes to play here in the first half. Kevin Cork and Coach Peter Voss with you. This is ESPN's coverage of college football. Beautiful night here at Paulson Stadium. A near sellout crowd. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say it is a sellout. I see very few spaces up there, Coach, as this newly expanded Paulson Stadium has been rocking from the opening kickoff. And why not when your club has put up 41 points on this very young Tiger team. Kickoff is all the way downfield. That's going to be fielded by Spalding, who runs his way into traffic, still on his feet, right around the 25-yard line. 1st and 10 for Savannah State.
You know, it's been a very impressive offensive performance by Georgia Southern. They have not been handed a lot of scores. In other words, there hasn't been an interception for a touchdown. Yes, Savannah State did fumble one time. Yes, Savannah State did go for it on 4th down and get stopped. But there haven't been turnovers for touchdowns. They've just methodically gone out and scored and executed well. Now it's time for Savannah State to throw the ball downfield a little bit, throw it and catch it, run it effectively. Just try to effectively move the ball down the field.
Good job there by Wayne Johnson for the Tigers, and they're actually in pretty good field position here. 1st and 10, ball at the 25-yard line. A little handoff over the right side, and again, it's the Eagle defense swarming. That'll make it 2nd down and right around 10 yards.
I know it's awfully early in the game because there's an awful lot to play, but one of the things that Savannah State's going to be looking for is effort. And you noticed on the kickoff return, the back was fighting for extra yards. Even there, that should have been a 1-yard loss. The back fought to make it a 1-yard gain.
Ross Alexander there, and on the play for Georgia Southern. Timeout called, as you see, Kershawn Wilson.
Savannah State, that is her 2nd timeout, 30-second timeout.
Make his way over to the sideline. 2nd called timeout here in the 1st half.
And again, on that one specifically, they were trying to run a 12th player on the field. There was confusion as far as personnel was concerned. Again, part of a young program, young players, you know, the growing pains that you go through.
You've been around a lot of college football throughout your career, college and professional football. When you have a game like this, and you're a coaching staff, and you know you're going to drop this one, and you go back on Sunday or Monday and you're looking at the game tape, what are you really looking for, Coach?
You're looking for effort. You're looking, to be perfectly honest, you're looking for things to praise. Obviously, when you lose a game like this, the players get beat up mentally as well as physically. So the last thing you want to do on Sunday or Monday is turn around and beat them up again. Look for things that you can praise, but most importantly, you're looking for effort.
Both of the quarterbacks have actually had a few positives out there. Speaking of Kershawn Wilson and Tino Smith, but we've also seen some individual solid efforts by several Tiger players. You saw Wayne Johnson there on that kickoff return. So they'll be looking for things like that, as Coach points out. But most of all, right now, they would love to pick up 9 or 10 yards here to keep this drive going.
One of the key things in any game is 3rd down production. Savannah State has not been effective today. They need to convert here.
Option left, and the pitch was made somewhat quickly, and when that happens, you're not really forcing the defensive end or the other defenders to make a decision. And quite frankly, there was not a lot of running room there for Criswell and company. That's going to bring up 4th down.
Looked like a broken play.
Yeah.
So somebody on the perimeter missed a block because there were too many people in the backfield to pitch the ball there and have everybody around it.
So it's another punting opportunity for Jacob Thomas.
One of the things that gets tested the most by you as a coach is your plan. You have tried to sell something all preseason, something you believe in. You can't flinch now. You have to stick to it. If you're a throwing football team, throw the football.
Boy, that punt was Roby-esque. Skied all the way down the field. Meanwhile, a nifty return for the Eagles, as you see on the run there, Trey Butler.
Well executed left return on the part of Georgia Southern. We've got a flag on the field, and I know we shouldn't guess, but where that flag is thrown, my guess is the ball is going to come back.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 21 of the receiving team, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, 1st down.
Nick Wright, the guilty party there. I actually saw that, and I didn't think they'd call it. It was close.
I need to apologize to Coach Fritz, because after the last one, when he held off, I praised the discipline, which obviously jinxed him. Now, one of the things that's very notable when you talk about discipline and penalties, they only had 3 penalties against North Carolina State, and that's their first penalty of the night here. So as we're into the 6th quarter of football, they've had 4 penalties on the season. That's a pretty disciplined football team.
No question about that.
I hope I didn't just throw it back at you, Coach Fritz.
Will you stop doing that? Upshaw, the quarterback for the Eagles. And this time, not a lot of running room. Second and long after that effort.
You'd asked me a question a little while ago about the two quarterbacks, and to be perfectly honest with you, it's difficult to tell. I would say that Ellison has the most experience, thus he's been productive in that particular phase. But Fabian, for a young guy who hasn't played much, has been very impressive.
Now, you know what I like there, Coach? The non-call. Sometimes you're going to get bumped. You got two athletes running. Feet may get tangled up. No call there, and I think that was the right non-call.
I would agree with you wholeheartedly.
Offsides, defense, number 75. 5-yard penalty, replay, second down.
So it was a free play based on the offsides call, and that's certainly good news. But as you look at that replay, again, that's discipline out of the officials as well.
Yes, it is. It most definitely is. You know, the interesting part, and this is just an ad lib, one of my experiences in the past is I spent some time in Canada. And go ahead, the ball's about to be snapped.
Upshaw takes the high snap, decides to keep it. He's over the 35, over the 40, over the 50, down at the 45-yard line. And, man, that may have stopped a touchdown run. That's a shoestring catch. He was just about to take that one to the house.
Well, one of the things they say about Fabian is that he has explosive speed. He showed it there. He hit that second level and just accelerated a little bit. And you were right. He was one step away from taking it all the way. But going back to the Canadian Football League thing, one of the things that's happened in Canada this year is in the instant replay thing, the coaches can challenge a judgment call. They can challenge pass interference, and thus it gets reviewed by replay. That's something I hope never happens in the United States. I don't agree with challenging the judgment. Challenge rules, but not judgment. The official's job is tough enough.
No disagreement there from me, as you see Devin Scott with the carry there. Scott out of Tucker, Georgia, having an active evening. Shifty runner for the Eagles. Under 6.5 to play here in the first half. They already have 41 on the board. And if Upshaw has his way, they'll have 48 at the conclusion of this drive. Second down, 4 yards to go. Play clock inside 10 seconds. Running right.
Straight option.
Yep. Pure option, and he makes a nice spin, and that's first down territory as Upshaw makes his way inside the 20, make that inside the 35-yard line.
Coach Fritz hasn't been coaching for 22 years and not learned something. And one of the things that he must realize is that if you're going to put the ball in the hands of the quarterback this often, some year you're going to get somebody hurt. So he's doing a great job here of getting people ready. Playing to, you know, and the idea that someplace down the road, game 7, game 8, game 9, somebody may be binged, and then I've got two guys that not only I, but our whole team has confidence in.
Upshaw, straight dive play this time. And again, just chewing up the yardage is Ian Days.
Ian Days on the carry. He's knocked down by Trevian Ashford.
First carry of the afternoon for Days. And he had plenty of daylight there as the ball is resting at the 30-yard line. Second down. 16 first downs on the contest for Georgia Southern. Savannah State has but one.
Off the broken play. Kershawn Wilson, the bad snap, picked it up and scrambled for 10.
Upshaw, dive again, right at the heart of the defense. This one's going to be shy of the 25-yard line. That should make it third down and short.
If I can have your attention, please, would all Gata Club members please report immediately to the Bishop Courtyard for the halftime recognition. All Gata Club members, please report immediately to the Bishop Courtyard.
The schedule gets decidedly tougher for Georgia Southern as they move on. They have Savannah State tonight. Next week, they are on the road at Georgia Tech. Now, the good news is Georgia Southern is still playing in the great state of Georgia. That has huge repercussions in terms of recruiting. Oh, and there goes Upshaw. Look at the speed. It's almost as if the team is even more productive with him under center. And that's no knock on Kevin Ellison, who certainly moved the football down the field, but that Upshaw kid is special.
And it's obvious Coach Fritz knows what he's doing. He put him in early because he's seen him practice an awful lot. He's obviously been productive in practice. He's got a little bit of light to him. He's a very, very productive player. There's no doubt about it. They're going to have a quarterback competition, if you will, here for many years to come because both gentlemen are just sophomores, I believe.
It's a very good thing when you have a pair of good ones. Option play, this one, the dive, and this is going to be very close to touchdown yardage and just shy, it would appear, of pay dirt.
That's a heck of a run by Scott. He just kept his legs going, and he carried a bunch of people about 8 yards.
He may not be very big, but he's got the heart of a lion. Look at Scott there in traffic, breaks one tackle, and then he sort of carries 3 defenders all the way down to the goal line as once again Georgia Southern is knocking on the door looking for another touchdown here in the first half with 3:15 to go before halftime. Upshaw looking, pitching, touchdown. Easy does it. Devin Scott with the touchdown, make it 47-0 Georgia Southern. And you know what? Given what happened on that drive, good for Scott. He deserved it. He worked hard, and he collects.
Yes, he did. He was very productive. Days was productive. Fabian Upshaw was impressive.
Yes, he was indeed. So Upshaw leads another scoring drive for Georgia Southern as they look to even their record on the season at 1-1. The point after is up, and this time it is good. And that'll make Alex Hanks very happy. 48-0 with 3:09 to go. Hey, there's that Field of Dreams you were talking about there, Coach. Just beyond the upright there, you see the kids playing in the end zone. Part of the great tradition here at Georgia Southern as they make their way into the FBS after all those great national championship years in the FCS. Devin Scott and company chomping up the yards as we make our way toward halftime.
You know, one of the other things that I'm sure Coach Fritz and his organizational duties undertook this week was not only getting the team ready to play the game, and certainly one of the things you cannot do is portray the attitude that, hey, this is going to be an easy one. But what I'm getting at is he had to talk to an awful lot of players in anticipation of a score like this and say, hey, Kevin, regardless of the score, you're not going to play today. You know, you're not a guy that we're looking at if somebody gets hurt to put in. You're somebody we're going to redshirt, so we're not even going to dress you. So you'll see a lot of players on their sideline that are in game jerseys but don't have any pads on. And that's a conversation just because a young man, if he's got shoulder pads and helmets on, says, hey, I want to play. How come I'm not getting in? It's 48-0. I want to play. Well, you've got to anticipate that ahead of time and have that conversation.
That's a tough one, though. When you're a youngster, you're a freshman on campus, and you're eager not only to contribute to a great program, but listen, you're from Atlanta, for example. You got folks right down the road. They've made the drive over, and they want to see their kid in the contest too, especially in a bit of a route like you have here today. But you're right, you have to be wise. And obviously, Coach Fritz is certainly a wise coach and knows to have those conversations ahead of time. And so if you're a youngster, just enjoy the atmosphere and have a great time and watch your teammates soar. And indeed, the Eagles have soared tonight as they lead this one 48-0 over the very young Savannah State Tigers as the tackle is made there just outside the 10-yard line. So another long field for Savannah State with 3:04 to play here in the first half. This is ESPN's coverage of college football 2014. Kevin Cork and Coach Peter Voss with you. Georgia Southern, after a very tough but very hard-fought 24-23 loss to NC State last week, coming home for the first time in 2014, and they are putting on quite an offensive show. And, hey, for good measure, the defense is pitching a shutout. 48-0 is our score. 3:04 to play here in the first half. Meanwhile, Savannah State has been platooning quarterbacks throughout the night. And once again, they decide to go with a fresh arm, and it's Kershawn Wilson making the handoff. Not a lot of running room there. Second down and long as we now are moving inside 2:50 in the first half remaining to play.
Tackle made for the Eagles by number 92.
You just hinted at it, but the Georgia Southern defense has been very impressive. I don't know the statistic, but I would be surprised if there have been many opportunities for Savannah State to punt the ball with less than 3rd or 4th and 10. It's been an impressive showing. I know for a fact Savannah State has not crossed the 50 yet, and as we said earlier, they've only had one first down.
See what Wilson can do here. Second down, we'll call it 8. Shotgun formation. Lets it go downfield. Has a man. Ooh, and just in and out of the hands, but good solid defense along the way as that one is broken up by Dobson. Make it 3rd down and long.
That was a very good defensive play. I believe it was Juwan Talbert, number 7. Am I seeing the right thing? Yeah, I think so.
That was Matt Dobson on the play there.
Brings up 3rd down and 8.
3rd down and 8. As Dobson and others get a chance to get in their licks. Shotgun formation. I see a possible blitzer on the outside and Raekwon Sam. He backs out instead. Pump fake. Under pressure is Wilson. Rolling to his right. Gets rid of it. Has a man. And it's a 1st down for the Tigers.
Deshaun Wilson showed a lot of poise on that particular play. He got flushed out of the pocket. He's running. You could see it as a quarterback coach. He was getting ready to throw the ball out of bounds. And then out of the corner of his eyes, by him keeping his eyes up, he saw a receiver. And as a result, they convert on 3rd down. And they come up with the 2nd first down of the night for Savannah State.
Joshua Berry on the receiving end of that 1st down strike from Kershawn Wilson. Drive stays alive. 1:50 to go here in the 1st half. Oh, Wilson loses his balance.
A little too anxious. He tripped a little bit over the back after the fake and then allowed himself to get going and in the upper part of his body, get out over his toes, and down he went. He lost his own balance and fell.
Tough break, too, because I saw a bit of real estate out there for him to gobble up. That means 2nd now and long. 1:20 to go here in the 1st half. Wilson surveying the defense.
Be smart now. Get it to 3rd and manageable. You don't have to get a 1st down on 2nd and 12. Get it to 3rd and manageable. Looks like there's a little pressure coming. Here it comes, the blitz and 5.
Right up the middle.
Does a nice job of holding on to the football and just throws out in front of the receiver a little bit too far.
Not quite able to hook up there with McDonald on that opportunity, so that'll make it 3rd down and 12. Here's a question for you, Coach. Given where the game is now, is this 2-down territory, assuming that Georgia Southern, not attempting to run it up, would simply run the football? Probably wouldn't. Or I imagine they might even try to kick it here, depending on where this play ends up. So we'll see if this is 2-down territory indeed for the Tigers. Wilson firing downfield.
He's got a chance.
Has a man. And that one is just off the hands of Spalding.
That was actually a pretty nice throw. Receivers got to help him a little bit and slow down and go up and get that. But as I said earlier, Kershawn gave him a chance to catch the ball, gave him a chance to make a play that time. But to get back to it's obvious they're going to punt it, and I believe this is the right decision on Coach Wilson's part. Earlier in the game, he went for it. He was a little closer to midfield. The game's a little closer. Now you don't want to do something crazy and put it way out of whack. Like that
looks like, yep, I was going to say it looks like they're going to end up with the football again, as it looked, at least at first glance, that a player ran into the kicker, number 98, Jacob Thomas. And indeed, if that is the case, that means that the Tigers will pick up another 1st down, this time, though, by penalty. Take another look. Harley. That would be Vegas Harley. Just looked like he may have clipped a cleat. And the officials want to talk it over.
Running into the kicker, number 10 on the defense. Penalty is 5 yards. Replay 4th down.
So not 1st down territory, just 4th and we'll call it 7 or so for the Tigers as they move the chains 5 yards just out in front of the 31, close to the 32-yard line.
This is interesting. It's only a 5-yard penalty. It's still 4th down. You have to kick it again. Not only that one, but the one before that came close to being blocked. I'm surprised they just didn't leave the punt where it was. But Coach Wilson knows more than I.
You see Thomas flying over the 45. But a penalty marker is down on the field right around the 26-yard line. of the Eagles, and that usually means it's coming back.
Coach Fritz, I promise you I will not talk about penalties again. As soon as I did it before, we've now had a running into the kicker. We've got another block in the back. I'm not going to mention it, so we need to come up with another topic, Kevin.
He's going to be looking
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 19, the receiving team, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
Tough break there for David Crowley, youngster from Jacksonville, Florida. As you see, Brandon Thomas crestfallen after that terrific return.
Was a very good return. He showed a little bit of a burst of speed there himself.
So with 37 ticks remaining on the clock here in the first half of a 48-0 contest, very likely that the Eagles will.
They're just going to run their offense. What happens, what happens. I don't think they'll throw it, but neither do I think they'll take a knee.
Simple handoff and plenty of running room in this case. Whoa, that was a pretty neat run by Ian Days. And now you start to wonder, maybe you take a shot downfield.
It's certainly a possibility, but again, I think they'll just run the football.
You hear the whistle.
Look at a Savannah State player get banged up a little bit.
Well, the Tigers hobbling just a bit. Assisted off the field. .23 seconds to play here in the first half. 48-0 Georgia Southern. Both quarterbacks, Upshaw and Ellison, have been very impressive in the contest. 7 touchdown drives by the Eagles in this one. Meanwhile, defensively, they have held the Tigers very successfully throughout in this contest. Obviously, no points on the board and very few first downs to speak of. And as we look forward to the second half, Coach, very quickly, what's the conversation like in the Eagles?
There's no 10-second runoff. The clock will stop for a first down.
Keep doing what we're doing. Keep playing hard. Play the next play. Play hard. Keep going. That'll be the whole mental approach in the Eagles locker room at halftime. They're going to get the ball to start. They want to still maintain every play you play it to the best of your ability. To play the game of football, you have to play with emotion.
Meanwhile, for the Tigers, what on earth do you say?
Calm down, relax. They self-destructed a few times where they jumped off sides. They've got to maintain poise. Coaches have to maintain. This is a time to coach, to teach. Make sure that you're calm. Make sure that you're talking to them. Those kids are trying hard. You've got to appreciate that part of it. And as a coach, you can't let your frustration overwhelm them. You've got to remain poised, stick to the plan, and teach them.
And again, as you've pointed out, and I think very well, build on what you've done well. It hasn't all been terrible out there. Yes, the score is lopsided, but you should try to build on some of the glimmers of hope that you saw after that first half of play. 48-0 is our score. This is ESPN's coverage of college football. We're back at Paulson Stadium. It's halftime. Welcome back, everybody, to Paulson Stadium. 48-0 is our score. Georgia Southern in the 2014 home opener out in front of Savannah State. Both clubs coming off of opening season losses. Savannah State dropping a 61-7 contest to Middle Tennessee State. Georgia Southern losing 24-23 on the road at North Carolina State, but they are playing strong here tonight in the home opener for 2014. 48-0 is our score. 7 touchdowns in the first half for the Eagles as we prepare for the second half of play. Kevin Cork and Coach Peter Voss with you. Coach, your impressions of the first half, which was all Georgia Southern.
It was all Georgia Southern, Kevin, and one of the things that we were privy to yesterday was we were able to see Georgia Southern's plan to win. And when you take a look at where we are at halftime, they're following their plan pretty darn well. One of the things that prominent in everybody's plan is don't turn the football over. And when you look at the statistics, they don't have an interception. They have not put the ball on the ground at all, never mind lost one. So they're certainly winning the turnover battle. Controlling the running game. I look at the rushes. They've got 4 guys listed in the stats. All 4 of them are rushing for over 8 yards a carry. Upshaw, Breeder, Scott, and Ellison. Over 8 yards a carry each of them. That's a heck of an average. So they're certainly controlling the running game. All right, great special teams. Well, great's an exaggeration. They kick the ball out of bounds. They miss an extra point. But at the same point in time, they've been proficient there. They haven't hurt themselves, that's for sure. Eagles don't beat Eagles. In other words, don't have pre-snap penalties, don't have undisciplined penalties, and I don't think they have. I don't think they've had a substitute problem. I don't believe they've jumped off sides yet. So they've done some good things there. And now the other one is remains to be seen, because the other thing is you always want to do is you want to make sure you finish a task that you've started. Certainly a 48-0 lead looks like it's insurmountable, but crazy things can happen. So Georgia Southern has to finish the second half.
How important is it for the Eagles to come out here on that first drive of the second half and collect points? You wouldn't think at first glance that, listen, Kevin, they're up 48-0, but you want to maintain that momentum, don't you?
Absolutely, and I think it was probably a point of emphasis by the coaches in there at halftime. Let's keep doing what we're doing. We get the ball to start the second half. It's paramount that we take it and go down and score. The other thing that's in the statistics that's not part of the plan, they're 5 for 5 in the red zone. Every time they get down there, they've scored. They're virtually unstopped on third down. They've done some things to continue to control the ball. They want to continue that momentum. How important is it? Not that it's critical, but it's very important because it's a teaching tool for coaches on Sunday/Monday.
I want to ask you something about the way they played here in the second half. I was very impressed with Quintrella's Showers in the first half. 3 catches, 91 yards, and a couple of touchdown catches to his credit. How much do you want to kind of just see what they can do and work on that phase of the game at game speed? How important is that?
You're caught between a rock and a hard place in a game like this. The one thing that Georgia Southern needs to do, in my opinion, as the season goes on, is throw the ball effectively. 4 for 5 on a day with 1 drop is pretty effective, but you want to be 15 for 20 at the end of a game. So I don't think they'd throw it a whole lot in the second half, but if they needed to work on anything, it would be that. But the little bit they have thrown has been impressive.
That ball kicked away by John Barron. And that one is very close, and indeed does go out of bounds, and that means the Eagles will end up with the football in very good field position. I've always wanted to ask a coach this question. How do you manage the blowout? You don't want to be disrespectful to a coach like Coach Wilson on the other sideline, because if you're a coach and you've been in the game long enough, you've been on the other side of a good old-fashioned you-know-what in a contest. And so I'm curious, how do you massage that? How do you manage that?
First down.
I think for the third and the first half of the fourth quarter, you go about your game plan. Whatever your game plan might be, whatever your personality is as a team, you continue to do it, because you've got to develop your program, and it's not your job to keep the score down. It's the defenses.
And right again, you see the dive right up the middle and a gain of about 5 yards as once again the Eagles go back to the well and they punish the interior of that Tiger defense on first down.
And a very effective run.
Tackle made by number 90.
I think the interesting thing that we've just noticed here is we've got a young man by the name of Azayi Yoyote, if I'm pronouncing that right, playing quarterback, and he's a senior that probably hasn't seen much playing time in the years prior to this.
There's a nice late pitch, and you see Ian Days with the carry again over the left side. This time it's just around the 43-yard line. That's going to bring up a third down and short. By the way, Georgia Southern, coach, with those 48 points in the first half. That's the most points in a first half for the school since they put up 58 back in 2004 against Johnson C. Smith.
Wow.
So if you thought 48 was impressive, they had 58 that night. Meanwhile, that ball.
There's a well-coached football team right there.
Yep.
And so just a little thing here where the defense jumps off sides. You know you have a free play. The offense snaps the ball to the quarterback, and the quarterback and the wide receiver are taught to throw the deep ball. It's exactly what happened. And now you're going to see that Savannah State shot themselves in the foot again by jumping off sides, and Georgia Southern's going to get a first down via penalty. Well coached, though, well executed. Only thing that didn't happen is it didn't get caught. But it's an opportunity to take a free play, and they take a shot for the end zone.
Isaiah Ute with that long throw as the Eagles continue to shuttle in new signal callers.
There's no foul for the pass interference. The ball was not in the air. Offside, defense, number 50, 5-yard penalty. First down.
So Ute doing the right thing and letting it fly, knowing he had a free play.
The interesting thing here is philosophically, coach has certainly made a decision that I've probably seen enough of my two top quarterbacks. I'm not going to jeopardize them to getting hurt. I need them as the season goes down the road. So at halftime, he made the decision. We're going to run our offense, but we're going to run it with some younger guys that haven't played a whole heck of a lot. In this case, an older quarterback, but still a guy who hasn't played a lot. I'm sorry.
That's all right. So Ute makes the handoff there, Coach, as once again, Georgia Southern empties the bench. Dennis Pritchard this time with the carry. Gain of 6 on the carry, second down. 48-0 here, early stages of the third quarter. This is ESPN's coverage of college football at Paulson Stadium in Statesboro, Georgia. Kevin Cork and Coach Peter Voss with you. Tigers of Savannah State bringing one of the youngest squads ever here to the stadium. And right now they are on the receiving end of a 48-0 beating. Thomas on the carry this time. It's another first down for the Eagles. By the way, at halftime, the Eagles had 17 first downs to just 2 for the Tigers, and they continue to chew up yardage here as we get underway in the third quarter. Shotgun formation. Isaiah Ute looking to the sideline for instruction. He has 2 wideouts to his left. Slot back now moves up. This could be a pass play. Instead, it's a nice handoff. And right over the left side for super yardage is Brandon Thomas. Thomas inside the 10, down inside the 5-yard line. First down and another first down for the Eagles offense.
You know, you just saw another great example of a well-coached team. Watch Thomas here. He gets to the perimeter. Now he's going to make another cut to the perimeter because he knows that wide receiver's there to make that block, which springs him for another 15 yards. Well-coached, good knowledge on the back's part of knowing where his blocks are coming from. An excellent cut on his part.
And I'm glad you mentioned the receiver downfield applying the pancake block down there. We don't talk enough about the importance. Look, you can catch the ball, that's great, but you have to also maintain your blocks if you're going to play wideout at the college level. As you see, once again, testing the middle, and this time it's a touchdown. 54-0 as Georgia Southern gets another one into the end zone.
A young man by the name of Ian Days, I believe, scored that one. Senior probably has not had an opportunity to carry the ball too much in the years prior to this, but has done yeoman's work tonight.
Days has been active, hasn't he, Coach? He's certainly got plenty of activity there, late stages of the second quarter. Now we're into the third quarter, and he gets a chance to punch one in 55-0 as Georgia Southern rumbles right down the field on the opening drive of the second half. Quick break. This is ESPN's coverage of college football. Welcome back, everybody, to picturesque Paulson Stadium. Recently expanded to more than 25,000, and we have had a rocking crowd here tonight. 55-0 for the home opener in 2014. Georgia Southern putting on a real show for the assembled faithful here this evening. Kevin Cork and Coach Peter Voss with you. It's been all Eagles in this contest. They received the opening kickoff here to begin play in the second half, and then promptly went right downfield and punched it in for another touchdown, make it now 55-0. And that ball is going to be downed in the end zone, so not many opportunities for the Tigers to return kicks, although they did have 100 return yards in the first half. But that's also a byproduct, Coach, of obviously having the other team score 7 touchdowns.
If you've had 2 kickoff returns and you've averaged 50 yards, that's a pretty good statistic. If you've had 5 or 6 of them or 7 of them, as they did, it's a mediocre statistic, one you ought not be very proud of.
Well, let's see what they decide to do here. under center. We have seen platooning quarterbacks throughout the contest for Savannah State. And this time they go back to the backup. Tino Smith.
Your first statement there was very interesting. It caught me by surprise. Under center. Air raid offense generally isn't like that. It'll be interesting to see how the second half goes. Is that just a one-play action? Obviously a completion, a first down, something they didn't get. You know, and I'm a big believer in you stick with your plan, so we'll see what happens. That may be very much a part of their offense, and I'm just unaware of it.
Strong throw that is. That time by Smith.
Another catch and release type of throw. Give that young offensive line an opportunity where they don't have to sustain a block. But now you're certainly in a manageable situation. We're 2nd and 2. Don't be surprised to see a run here. Gain some momentum. Get a first down.
Shotgun formation. 2 backs on either side of Smith. 4-3 defense. Handoff left side. Tough sledding, but that looks like that's going to be good enough for a first down for the Tigers.
You know, I'd mentioned it to you earlier, Kevin, that I had a little stint in Canada, and one of the things that's exceptionally rewarding about being here tonight is I had the distinct pleasure of coaching Tracy Ham, or I could probably say Tracy Ham coached me because it was in his 10th year up there. But one of the things Canada taught me in the 2-down league is first down was a waste down. Second and third down, you try to get first downs.
Movement on the left side of the defense. Smith takes off over the 50, over the 45.
You just said something else for the first time tonight. Over the 50. Savannah State, I believe that's the first time they've gotten over the 50-yard line, and now they've strung together 3 first downs in a row. That's good, good. Obviously the adjustments and the calming process that took place by Coach Wilson at halftime is having an effect. They gave up a touchdown, but now offensively they've come out and did something. What did we say? They had 2 first downs in the whole first half?
That was it.
They've now put together 3.
See if they can keep it going here. Smith in the gun. First down, 10 yards to go. As you heard Coach Voss mention, first time in plus territory tonight. At Smith, keeper, left side, looking for a block. Doesn't quite get the seal block he was looking for, but give him credit. The keeper is good for more than 5 yards. That'll make it second down, and once again, the Tigers are on the move.
And again, a very efficient play. You're in 2nd and 4. Let's go get a first down again. Let's go get a first down. Let's run the ball here, make it 3rd and short. Let's run the ball, first down. Then let's be aggressive on first down.
Slightly different tempo. It looks like Savannah State is actually moving a lot faster, getting to the line of scrimmage more quickly. Firing, has a man wide open right around the 20-yard line. May have lost a shoe on his way down around the 17, and indeed, there it is.
So much for predicting plays. Straight drop back out of the gun and throws an out cut up to the left, and it looked like a breakdown in coverage on the part of Georgia Southern, so they will have something to coach on Sunday. But the receiver's wide open, nobody near him. He runs out of his shoe.
I don't mind seeing that. Chris Drummond working hard. Good job by our crew getting a shot of that cleat out there. So Drummond gives the Tigers another first down. Handoff left side. Not much there for Josh Berry.
You know, one of the interesting things tonight is we actually see 2 teams in their home uniforms. Savannah State, from what I understand, was a little late in ordering their white jerseys, or the company's late in delivering it, but they've had to play in their home jerseys for 2 games in a row away. Unless we have a team in orange and a team in blue out there tonight.
Well, if there's any consolation, it's easy to spot them, if nothing else.
That's true.
Second down, long. Smith surveys the defense. Back to throw, decides to run it. Over the 15, over the 10, inside the 5-yard line for a first down. Tino Smith has his team on the doorstep.
He certainly does, and he did a nice job there of making a good decision. Did not want to force the ball, pulled it down, put his foot in the ground, and gained some yards very positively. The one thing he needs to do is tuck that ball away a little bit more. He's in charge of the football. Secure it.
Keep that ball above the elbow and tight to the body. First down, goal to go for Savannah State. Ball at the 4-yard line. Testing the left side of the defense and the right side of the offensive line of power.
He's knocked down by number 29, Deion Stanley.
Not much there. As you see, Nicholas Bentley get the carry. Second down. Nicholas, a bruiser. 5'10", 225 out of Decatur, Georgia. Second and goal. Ball at the 3-yard line. Just about 8 minutes to go here in the third quarter in a 55-0 rout. Looks like their quarterback Smith is eating a little turf there. Playing some hard football right now. May keep it on this one. And a whistle. He was going to keep it, and that is going to push them back. A delay of game call. An inopportune moment to have a penalty.
You know, Kevin, I was watching that play unfold in the last 3 or 4 of them, and I'm going to say that the Georgia Southern crowd may have had something to do with this. There may have been some confusion in the first half because this whole second half, the quarterback has been headed towards the sideline to get the play from Coach Wilson, either in a distance where he can see the signal better, where he can hear Coach, whatever it was, and that last one took an inordinate amount of time. Got to be a little bit quicker. Got to get into a rhythm where it happens a little bit more of a flow. But he keeps going back and forth. I'm afraid we're probably going to have a timeout. Yep, we did.
Timeout. Savannah State. That is their first timeout.
So they're going to talk about it. They have a goal-to-go situation here. Second and goal inside the 10. And we will take a timeout as well. This is ESPN's coverage of college football. 55-0. Georgia Southern leading, but Savannah State is threatening. Welcome back to Paulson Stadium, everybody. Kevin Cork and Coach Peter Ross with you. This is ESPN's coverage of college football. Georgia Southern comfortably ahead of Savannah State here in the third quarter, but it's the Tigers on the doorstep with a second down and goal to go. Ball at the 8-yard line. Savannah State in the orange, Georgia Southern in the home dark blue. Smith, shotgun, looking, has a man, and just misfires over the left side, trying there to connect with Chris Drummond. That'll make it third down from the 8. How big was that penalty now, Coach? You have a first and goal from the 4.
Well, it was because it changed it. You get a first and goal on the 4, you get a second goal on about the 3, then it becomes second and goal on the 8. Instead, now you're third down on the 8 instead of being there where you can pound the ball away. It changes your whole play calling thought. So I would be shocked if this isn't a pass of some sort. They're back in their gun. Their hands are not underneath the center anymore.
I'm going to call a quarterback keeper on this one. See if Smith can scramble his way into the end zone. Looking, waiting, throwing, and that one is nearly intercepted. Terrific defense by the Eagles on that one, as that one is knocked away by Steve Williams.
Good decision, I believe. I see them running people on. All right, I'm going to eat my own words. I thought they were running people on to kick the field goal, which is what I would do at this point in time, because remember, you're building a program and you want to give the kids something positive. Oh, good, it is a field goal attempt.
John Barron will get his first attempt of the night, lining up at the 15-yard line. That would make it a 25-yarder if successful. Right hash. Snap is good. Hold is good. Kick is no good.
And kick is no good.
Relatively short kick for John Barron.
Just missed it to the right, I believe. And I was going to expand on the word that you said, if successful. And they need some success. So now instead of coming away with points, your success is we sustained the drive. You constantly look for the positive. Again, and I know I'm very redundant, but Coach Wilson made the point this week that this is a process. And I'm just reminding myself and everybody else that it is a process. It's a Saturday night. Everybody wants to win. We want to put our best foot forward. We want to score points. We want to be efficient. But it's a process.
Speaking of the process there, sorry to cut you off there, Coach. It would be interesting to see if their defense can begin to show just a little bit more improvement as they try to slow down the Eagles, but this is not how you do it. On his way, possibly all the way, for the touchdown. Ian Days to the house, 61-0.
I will put money on it that no matter what else happens tonight, that will be a topic of conversation in the locker room for weeks to come. Ian Days, 230 pounds, just rambled the length of the field. That has not happened too many times in the past, I don't believe. He's going to tell you he's fast.
Days was absolutely shocking on that play. I think he stiff-armed maybe 3 or 4 guys and got 2 to collide, and after that he just took it all the way. The point after is up and good. Georgia Southern, one-play drive as they go all the way for the score to make it 62-0. We're back after this. And welcome back, everybody, to Paulson Stadium. Crowd still enjoying it, albeit thinning out just a bit. After all, the home team is up 62-0 here in the third quarter of play. Kevin Cork and Coach Peter Ross with you. This is ESPN's continuing coverage of college football. Georgia Southern looking for their first victory of the 2014 season, and they will certainly collect one tonight as they've been completely dominating throughout in this one. Savannah State fielding one of its youngest squads ever, and right now they are not in the same class as Georgia Southern.
Well, that's true in 2 senses of the word. One's an FCS school, the other's an FBS school. First time we can ever say that. And 2, just we've used this word an awful lot tonight, but the tradition. Georgia Southern is used to winning. Savannah State needs to do some things to ensure the fact that they can win in the future, because you can't continue to do the things you've done or you'd be in trouble.
At halftime, Georgia Southern had 379 total yards. We still have a lot of football to go here in the third quarter, and they are at 519 total yards. Savannah State at 119, so a 400-yard difference in total offense. And perhaps even more disappointing or deflating for Savannah State, as you see a nice run there over the left side by Kershawn Wilson. They had that nice long drive. They got all the way down inside the Eagle 5-yard line. You would think assured certainly 3 points, if not 7, if they can simply maintain. They had second down and goal to go from the 3. A 5-yard penalty pushed them back. Unable to convert on third down, forced to settle for a relatively short field goal. Then the miss, and the very first play after the miss is a long touchdown run. It's been that kind of night for Savannah State. So a nice run there on first down by Wilson. He's going to call his own number again, and again he's got a big lane to run through, and this time he's over the 50 for first down yardage for the Tigers.
And you see Kershawn Wilson going over the sideline each time to get the play from Coach Wilson, and I know when they get back and coaches evaluate themselves, Coach Wilson's going to take the brunt of that communication down on the 3-yard line. There's no way that you should have a delay of game penalty because you can't get the play into the huddle. That happens to be a coaching mistake, not necessarily a team execution mistake.
Wilson hands off this time, and the ball is loose as Barry is spinning. Penalty markers flying, and the Eagles say they've come up with the fumbled football. They're going to have to unstack the pile. We'll watch it all unfold. Meanwhile, the men in stripes also have penalty markers all over the field. And indeed, it would appear that Georgia Southern has recovered the football, but we have to check the flag.
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by Georgia Southern. Holding offense number 79. That penalty is declined. First down.
And so after 2 terrific runs by Wilson, you see the fumble there on the carry. Somebody got a hat on that football, and Joshua Berry is unable to hang on to it. And it's recovered by that stout Eagle defense. First and 10 once again for Georgia Southern. This time the ball just on the 42-yard line, already leading 62-0. Coach Fritz, your home opener has been a good one. A very good one, you could argue.
the coach has to be pleased, but yet at the same point in time, he will find things to coach. You know, the missed extra point, the ball going out of the end zone, the abundance of penalties compared to a week ago. You know, not that there have been a lot of penalties, but still there were more than there was a week ago.
Isaiah Ute in at quarterback, the third signal caller tonight for the Eagles. 2nd down, 6 yards to go.
One of the things that this kind of game does, especially for Georgia Southern, is it gives them an opportunity to play a lot of walk-on players. And in doing so, you give credit to the people that have done a great job for practices for many games prior to this.
Well, there's a nifty piece of running right there. And how about that? That's how you make an impression on a coaching staff. As you see, Dennis Pritchard, youngster from Auburn, Georgia, making his way first left, then right as we take a look at the replay.
Keeps his feet moving, has enough speed to get around the edge, makes a nice cut back, just keeps cutting back to where the defenders were coming from. Cut to their soft shoulder. Does a nice job there. Communication from the sideline, a card being held up. It's communicated now to the rest of the offensive line. The receivers, all the skill positions, look over and see it themselves.
First down, 10 yards to go. Ute hands off to Brandon Thomas.
Brandon Thomas is one of those walk-ons that we were talking about. He's a walk-on player. He's a senior that has to be awfully excited about scoring a touchdown. I don't know if it's his first in his career or not, but it's certainly the first as an FBS school.
He has been electric tonight on returns and especially in space. A dangerous runner indeed for the Eagles. Already leading 62-0 with 4 minutes to play here in the third quarter. 2nd down and 5. Ute and the shotgun will run the option here. Dive play, hands it off right up the middle. Left side, Thomas in there for the score. Walk on and walk it in. Brandon Thomas, 68-0.
I tell you what, first thing, 8 o'clock in the morning, he could be walking in coach's office saying, "Where's my scholarship, coach?" Did a nice job. Nice cut there again. Kept himself north and south. Kept the ball high and tight. Next little thing as a coach, you're going to tell him to get it in his outside arm. Once you get out in the open, get it away from the defenders, get it in your outside arm to prevent turnovers.
What I really liked about the tail end of that run, Coach, he was actually hit at around the 5. And there was no stopping him. He just carried the defenders all the way into the end zone. And you see Koo comes up with the point after to make it 69-0. Now, this may seem like an incredible score, but if you know anything about the history of this series, you know that Georgia Southern certainly has had their way with Savannah State.
Yes, they have. This score is not abnormal. It's been like that before. You know, while we have a moment here, Kevin, one of the interesting things tonight is when you listen to the people here on campus, and the person that's been very helpful to us is Rose Carter in the Sports Information Office, but there are a bunch of traditions. One of them is the players get off a yellow bus because the yellow buses were where they started way back when in 1982, and I think they're the same buses. At least 2 out of the 3 are. But they used to touch Irk Russell's head, the bust of Irk Russell, when they get off the bus. Now what they do is the bus drops them off to our left here. They walk the length of the field, and down there as they're walking into the locker room, they've moved the bus to a different location. And as the players walk into the locker room prior to the game, prior to getting dressed, they all tap Russ on the top, Coach Russell on the top of his head, kind of in remembrance. Be with us one more time, Coach, please. Be with us one more time.
I love the great stories of tradition. And while this is a relatively young program, when you compare it to the great programs in college football, it is a proud young program that has made strides and leaps and bounds in its relatively youthful existence. 69-0, championship pedigree at the FCS level, now playing FBS level football.
For a coach who had never coached a game in 22 years in the Eastern Time Zone until last week, never coached a game in Georgia at all until tonight, Coach Fritz has embraced those traditions and is doing a fabulous job of not only embracing them, but enhancing them and getting them to grow.
Yes, Coach Wilson also in rarefied air. In that circumstance, you see Johnson there, swarmed under once again. And I know we've had a couple of hiccups, if you will, as far as the special teams are concerned for the Eagles. But listen, they have actually gotten down the field with a lot of speed, and they've been flying around the football, and that's what you like to see. Keep in mind, everything's changed now, especially in this technology-driven age. You can't take a play off because, trust me, somebody will see it. A coach will see it. A teammate will see it. They'll call you out in the team room during film sessions. So you have to be ready to play every chance you get when you get on the football field. Meanwhile, the Tigers are, well, not going to get anything on that particular carry as the youngsters now who are on the field for Georgia Southern are playing with a full head of steam and a 69-point lead.
As they always say when a guy comes back from injury, fresh legs. So right now, Georgia Southern's got a bunch of fresh legs out there, people running around the football. But that's what they've always been noted for. They've always been noted for great team speed. The one exception being Tracy Ham. Tracy never could run. I had to say that because he's probably listening. But Tracy, I think they styled the offense after him. Wasn't it the ham bone back in those days?
Indeed. Second down, shotgun. Smith hooks up with the receiver. Short gain. Spalding. Third down. Savannah State has a favorable schedule moving forward. Next week, Fort Valley State on the schedule. They would love to collect their first victory of the season there. That's the home opener for Savannah State. Meanwhile, Georgia Southern has to go on the road to battle the rambling wreck of Georgia Tech. Pressure, nowhere to run, and nowhere to hide for Smith.
Needless to say, two big games for both teams next week.
Yep.
Savannah State will desperately need a win, without a doubt. And Georgia Southern playing an in-state school, like you had mentioned earlier, what a tremendous opportunity to make an impression and an expression as far as recruiting is concerned. I'm sure that the two schools are overlapping on some plays, maybe not a bunch, but some. And certainly if Georgia Southern can come away with a big win next week, it'll go a long way in setting their program forward.
Another high punt. This time caught right around midfield. Spinning and still advancing the football. That's a pretty nice job done there by Trey Butler. Those Butlers are a tough lot. Trey spinning for a few yards. So 1:25 to go here in the third quarter at Paulson Stadium. Sellout crowd here on the home opener for the Eagles. 69-0 leading Savannah State.
You know, one of the things we have not made a big issue of tonight, but I think you're seeing it happen in the second half, is Coach Wilson for Savannah State has had to suspend some players because they didn't adhere to some team rules. He suspended 3 people on the defensive side for a game and a half, and I believe they're not playing in the second half of this game. And I know one of their other quarterbacks, a young man by the name of Leon Prunty, has not played neither one of these games this year. Leon had some experience last year, so as a result, he's going with a couple of young guys that don't have much playing time. But it's a testament to him and to his program that he understands it's a process and it's going to take time. And if you allow undisciplined things to occur or situations to occur without any repercussions, then you're asking for trouble in the long run. So I admire and applaud his vision to see the future and set the right tone now.
I couldn't agree with you more. We've seen Charlie Strong do that over in Austin and other coaches. They run a tight ship. It does pay dividends in the long run. Ute, broken play there, keeps it, and will still pick up a few yards to make it third and short.
Without discipline, you don't have a chance.
Yep.
You don't have a chance. And the most important part is you'd like to be it to be self-discipline. In other words, it comes from the team, the players themselves. And when you have a program like Georgia Southern, I'm sure that's what is taking place. There's a lot of discipline in that locker room from your senior leadership.
So a fine walk-up crowd tonight 23,121, the announced attendance, 6th largest in school history. Congratulations to the Eagle faithful. Obviously, things have thinned out just a bit here with a big lead. Quick timeout. 69-0 is our score. We're back after this. Welcome back, everybody, to Paulson Stadium. ESPN's coverage of college football continues here from Statesboro, Georgia. Kevin Cork and Coach Peter Voss with you. 69-0 is our score. Georgia Southern out in front of Savannah State. Last year, they put 77 on the board against the Tigers. They are obviously well on their way as we begin play here in the fourth quarter. Yuyut keeps it right up the middle. 25-20, 15-10-5, touchdown. Make it 75-0.
You mentioned 77. Next play they scored, in all likelihood, about to become 76, and if it wasn't for that missed extra point, it would be 77. That's the 11th drive. No, excuse me, it's the 12th drive. The only thing that stopped Georgia Southern tonight was halftime.
They have been that impressive throughout. A team that barely lost on the road against NC State has come home for the home opener in 2014 and put on quite a show. 76-0, just 1 point shy of the point total they put up on Savannah State a year ago. Welcome back, everybody, to Paulson Stadium. 76-0. No, your eyes don't deceive you. That's really the score, as Georgia Southern has been that dominating tonight in their contest against Savannah State. The Tigers bringing one of the youngest teams in their school history into a fairly hostile environment, and it has been all Eagles here tonight as they go up and down the field. Yuyut with his first touchdown as a quarterback since the 2012 season. The latest touchdown, which now sees the Eagles well over the 500-yard, perhaps even 600 total yards of offense mark in this contest, and they are getting ever so close to setting the all-time school record for scoring in a single contest. Right now out in front, 76-0, early stages of the fourth quarter. Let me ask you about Georgia Tech. They know they'll be facing this Georgia Southern squad. I'm certain they have a healthy amount of respect for Coach Fritz and the staff, but I'm curious, how much do you glean from a game like this? They're obviously here watching or at home watching. Is this sort of a throwaway?
Yes, you won't even look at it. The interesting part, until you just started to talk about Georgia Tech, that didn't occur to me because we've been concentrating on Savannah State. Paul Johnson's the head coach at Georgia Tech. Mm-hmm. Paul Johnson was the offensive coordinator here for Tracy Ham. Was a head coach here. You know, was one of the guys who won national championships here. So that's going to be an emotional game for him, and certainly an emotional game. He'll be well aware and have a tremendous amount. He will not sell Georgia Southern short, I promise you, because he understands this tradition probably better than most because he helped create it.
Great point by you, and interesting if you know the history of obviously Georgia Tech, the co-national championship all the way back in 1990 with Colorado. They're going to be taking on a team that has championship pedigree in their own right in Georgia Southern a week from now. First down carry there, good for the first down on the play. Now you see Kershawn Wilson looking, firing, nice arm, but that throw obviously well off the mark. That'll make it second down. And I mentioned that Georgia Tech contest for Georgia Southern also, Coach, because, you know, Atlanta is a hotbed of recruiting. It's also a hotbed of alumni activity. If you've ever been here to Georgia Southern, you know there are thousands of Georgia Southern alumni right there in the metro Atlanta area. They're going to be out there in full force. You're going to see plenty of blue in the crowd for that one.
I guarantee you the Rotary clubs come Monday and Tuesday mornings, and those luncheons will be heated. There'll be many a heated discussion this week, and everybody will be wearing their colors loud and proud.
Beware the Eagles. If you're a fan of the Ramblin' Wreck, you know that they're going to bring a serious squad into that contest.
What we just saw with Keyshawn throwing the ball downfield. We need to see more of that from Savannah State as the year goes on. Now, I understand protection, that's where it all starts. That's when the passing game starts. And as that young offensive line of Savannah State matures, gains confidence in their pass protection, they're going to have to throw the ball downfield more. That was probably about a 15-yard gain.
Nicely done, and not the first drive here in the second half that we've seen from the Tigers as they begin to chew up just a bit more in the way of yardage. First down, 10 yards to go, ball inside the 50, option left. Kershawn Wilson down around the 45-yard line, second down after the short carry. After 3 quarters of play, Georgia Southern with 583 yards of offense on 50 plays. Again, 50 plays, 583 total yards after 3 quarters of play. Savannah State, meanwhile, coach, 45 plays for 146 yards.
I'm a history major, but I think if my 3rd grade algebra division gets me correct, that's over 10 yards a carry, isn't it?
That's pretty solid, isn't it?
50 plays, 500-something yards?
You are correct, my friend.
That's impressive.
Yes, indeed. 23 first downs for Southern, 8 first downs for Savannah State through 3 quarters, although on this drive, we've seen the Tigers actually pick up a couple more. 3rd down coming up now. We've been watching Kershaw Wilson, 38 yards on the ground through 3 quarters, 41 through the air. He has been sacked twice. In shotgun formation here, 3rd down at 9. Standing. A little swing pass over the right side. That's a nifty play, and that's going to be good for first down yardage. And that's the kind of play that can sort of make that aggressive young Eagle defense back off just a bit as they pick up the first down on the pass to Anthony Criswell.
That was a well-executed screenplay. I remember being at Notre Dame playing a very formidable Tennessee defensive front, and Charlie Weiss started the game off with 3 screen passes in a row just to do exactly what you said, calm that front down.
So a nice play there, coach, means first down, 10 yards to go again for the Tigers, who for the second time here are threatening. Pass complete, but down right around the 19-yard line. Again, positive yardage on the play as Cantrell Frazier hauls in another one, second down.
Starting to get a little bit of rhythm. One completion after the other, mixing a little bit of a run. And again, Coach Wilson's doing the things he has to do to have his team come away with a little bit of success. You don't have to say who they're playing against. They're not playing against the frontline guys right now, but they've still got to execute. And you're challenging yourself to get better.
Well, that certainly helps when you run hard over the left side like Joshua Berry.
And he just made a nice cut inside the block of the wide receiver to gain an extra 5 yards.
As you see, Berry, full head of steam, corralled by the defender after picking up a few yards and another first down on the tackle. Olbeck.
There's never a bad place to have a first down, but 1st and 10 on the 11 is about as bad as you can be, because it's almost like it's 1st and goal. Very difficult to get that first down inside the 1.
See what Kershaw Wilson can do here. Does make the handoff, testing the right side of the defense. Not a lot there. We'll call it 2nd and goal from around the 8-yard line. 11-12 to play here in the 4th quarter. 76-0. If you're Georgia Southern's defense, obviously you'd love to preserve the shutout here, and this is one way to do it.
Oh, it most definitely is. And you know that they're going to be, not that they don't play hard on every play, but there's a little bit more emotion involved in these next couple to keep Savannah State out of the end zone and off the scoreboard.
Wilson surveys the defense now. 2nd down. Goal to go. Actually, not 2nd and goal, 2nd down. There is a chance to make a first down right around the 1-yard line. Wilson decides to call his own number, and he cannot escape the ankle tackle down at around the 15. So not only a loss in the play, that'll make it 3rd down and about 14 or so, give or take, meaning they can still get the first down, but now you're really looking at just taking a shot toward the end zone, aren't you?
Well, and again, I don't know the total psyche, but I might be of the volition of running a draw play here and kicking the field goal. Again, with the idea that I don't want to force the ball, I don't want to turn it over. I want to come away with points. I want to give my young team something they can hang their hat on. So I would not be surprised or shocked to see a draw play followed by a field goal.
John Barron, the kicker for the Tigers, missed on a very short try earlier, and that's the one thing you don't want to have happen if you're the Tigers. Now you're even farther away for the kick for Barron.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Kershaw has got to learn to get rid of the ball. Those last 2 plays here, he's got to get rid of it quicker. Waits, let it go. Throw it, throw through the back of the end zone.
So that means it's a 4th down and a much more difficult kick now for John Barron, who missed a chip shot earlier in the contest. This one lining up around the 29. That would make it a 39-yarder. Kick is up, on the way, and it is good.
There we go.
So Savannah State is on the board, and they'll take it. Down 76 to
Coach
3.
Wilson got what he wanted. He's got a little bit of excitement on his sideline, and that's a positive for him.
Sometimes 3 is just what the doctor ordered. Welcome back, everybody. Beautiful night in Statesboro, Georgia. Warm day and a glorious evening for college football. 76 to 3 is our score here in the 4th quarter. Georgia Southern out in front of Savannah State. Kevin Cork and Coach Peter Voss with you. How about them Eagles? We got a chance to see the mascot here inside the booth earlier tonight. What a majestic mascot and a beautiful sight to actually be up close to an eagle like that and actually get to touch the feathers. I noticed you were backing away there a little bit, Coach.
The Eagle Freedom. No, I wasn't backing away. Wouldn't back away from an eagle at all. They are a beautiful, beautiful bird.
Not only did you not back away, as I kid, of course, I think Freedom gave you the business a little bit, didn't he?
He flapped his wings a couple times, knocked my glasses off.
Freedom was excited. That's a beautiful part of the great traditions here at Georgia Southern. We've had a real treat spending time here in Statesboro, a community, to say the least, that is passionate about its college football and the 2014 season, of course, their first season as an FBS school.
The interesting part about that passion is it stems to the student body, where a couple of years they voted to tax themselves because of the adventure to the FBS level. And I know that what we were told yesterday, their budget increased by 33% from last year to this year just to accommodate the things that they needed to function at this level. And again, for the student body to do that, and I know they're taxing the students yet to come, but still it shows you the enthusiasm, the excitement they have for the program.
You hit the nail on the head, the enthusiasm, and that's really it. That's what it's all about, because if you've been to a large college or university, you know, on occasion you get the referendum that'll come up and, hey, 15 extra cents for the rec center or this or that or the other. These students pushed all the chips, if you will, to the middle of the table there. They are all in on this program, and it certainly is paying dividends right now as the Eagles look to be off to a terrific start for 2014. As you see, they're hard running, and another first down as Pritchard picks up the carry.
They have certainly been efficient all night long. As we've said, they've been averaging over 10 yards a play, and that is efficient. You know, an interesting thing happened last night, Kevin. I don't get to spend too many Friday nights before college football games, quote unquote, out. But last night I went out to get a bite to eat, and as I'm sitting there eating, the band came in and played right in the middle of the restaurant. They played 4 or 5 Georgia Southern songs, and the people that were in the restaurant were singing along and clapping along with them. It was a pretty impressive thing, and you could see that the people in the restaurant and the band itself was very proud of what they were doing.
And they should be proud of what their team is doing out there on the field as well. As you see Pritchard again with a hard carry over the right side as they continue to gash this Tiger defense. And not only are they a young Tiger defense, to be quite honest, Coach, they're probably a little gassed with 7:45 to go.
Well, they probably are a little bit gassed. They're a little bit tired. But at the same point in time, Kevin, one of the things that you talk about is play 60 minutes. Play the next play. When coaches look at film on a game like this, they're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it because there's not that many positives you can get out of it. But I want to see guys playing hard, and I'd like to see Savannah State step up here and, let's play with some pride here now, man. This is time. You can't look at the scoreboard.
Talked about part of the game plan to win for Georgia Southern. Number 5, finish, win the fourth quarter. And when you're running hard, you have a much better chance to win the fourth quarter. As you see Thomas there on the carry with 7 minutes to go. The Eagles now marching for what could be points 82 and 83 in this contest.
The interesting part here, and I'm certainly not Coach Fritz. I have not enjoyed the successes that he has. But if I were him and I had a game like this, as I sit back and look at it, Georgia Southern has not thrown the ball one time in the second half. If you're going to compete at that major level, you've got to throw the ball to score and you've got to run it to win. They need to work on their passing game. Just, the other frustrating part that you come away with tonight is all the time they've spent in punt protection. They haven't punted the ball once tonight either. And it doesn't look as though they're going to.
Does not look like that as we see Brandon Thomas once again just picking up huge yardage over the right side. Again, it's just the speed with which he attacks the line of scrimmage. And I think that they may have stumbled onto something here. I think Brandon Thomas has earned himself a little bit more playing time in the backfield as he has run very hard. Downhill, he makes his decision and makes that cut. And he's picked up chunks of yards here in the second half. So it's another first down carry and a first down and 10 for the Eagles here as they are now in goal-to-go range to try to make it 83-3.
Kevin, if these players didn't have numbers on their back, you would not notice the drop-off from the first half to the second. Again, the efficiency of the Georgia Southern offense, the system of it, the idea that the coaches have coached more than just the first team is very, very impressive. They've done a nice job. These kids are as ready to play in a game, whether it be tonight or 2 weeks from now, as what the first group that stepped on the field was.
Sunbelt proud are the Eagles. 5:30 to go here in the fourth quarter. Second down. 5 yards to go. Shotgun formation. Ute. Hands off the football. That should be another score, and that is another touchdown for Georgia Southern. Dennis Pritchard with the honors. 82-3. The Eagles soaring. So making another score for Georgia Southern. And we'll see if Koo can make it 83-3. And indeed, that is the case. Still 5:19 to go. Can they make it 90? Will they get the ball back? We'll find out together as we continue our coverage of college football on ESPN. Welcome back, everybody. It's the Capital One Impact Player of the Night, and it's a wide receiver, surprisingly.
It's an amazing thing. Georgia Southern threw the ball 5 times tonight, but the young man had 3 catches, 2 of them for touchdowns at a critical time in the game early on. So when you talk about impact, Stowers is the impact player of the game today, in my opinion.
Kentrellis Showers, 91 yards, Coach, 2 touchdown catches, and as you pointed out aptly, how many times did they throw it in the second half?
We're still counting. We have not reached 1 yet. We still have some time left, but they have not thrown it in the second half yet at all.
And sometimes you don't have to. Kentrellis Showers, the Capital One Impact Player of the Night. 3 catches, 91 yards, a pair of scores, both terrific catches. And he's a big-time target for both Upshaw and Ellison as the Eagles continue to develop offensively here in the 2014 season. They're well out in front now, 83-3. If you're just joining us, they have tied a school record with 12. Count them, 12 touchdowns. That record was first set back in 2004 in a contest against Johnson C. Smith. By the way, 83 points is 1 shy of the all-time mark. And That's got to be a little painful.
Well, I'm debating right now as to who's going to catch the most grief in the locker room. Is it Alex Hanks if they don't break the 84 because he missed the extra point, or is it Ian Days because he ran 80 yards and it took him a day and a half? I'm not sure which one of those guys is going to get the most grief, but both of them are there in it.
That's good stuff. Meanwhile, the Tigers do have a scoring drive here in the fourth quarter. And if you've been watching, you probably have noticed something. Those guys out there in orange, Coach, are still playing.
That's exactly what I just noticed on that play. The young man that makes the catch breaks, has two guys bounce off him, puts his shoulder down, turns a 2-yard catch into a 12-yard gain. The effort that we're talking about.
Love to see that out of this young Savannah State squad, one of their youngest ever. Coach Wilson knows it's a process. This will take a few years before they are ready to compete with a squad like they're facing here tonight in Georgia Southern. Nonetheless, first down, handoff, left side. Joshua Berry has been very busy tonight, testing the right side of that stout Eagle defense. Not a lot of running room. Criswell also, beg your pardon there, Coach. Criswell also getting a few carries. He got the latest one there.
One of the things that I'd mentioned about Coach Fritz was that he had to have that conversation about people not playing because they were going to be redshirted. Well, certainly when you're building a program and you have your sights 2 or 3 years down the road to build that program and let kids mature, Coach Wilson has to tell some guys, you're not going to play, we're going to redshirt you. So in a swamping game like this where the game is out of hand, it's a huge score difference. If there are people that aren't playing, you can't have them getting on the bus moping and groaning. They have to have known before the game started. And look, hey, you're not going to play this season. Let's just relax. Hopefully Coach Wilson didn't even bring him to the game. But with a short trip, he probably brought everybody.
Of course, they have a big contest coming up. Fort Valley State. That one, the home opener for the Tigers next weekend. A 6 p.m. kickoff at home. Meanwhile, for the Eagles, they go on the road at Georgia Tech. A noon start, September 13th. Right now, the defense trying to hold that Tiger. The carry, near first down yardage. The extra effort should be enough for another Savannah State first down.
And the one thing you can say is Savannah State has not given up. They have been a lot more productive here in the second half than they were in the first.
And it's enough for Savannah State first down.
First down for the Tigers, who are held to just 2 first downs in the first half. They've been far more successful in moving the football here in the second half, a testament to what you heard Coach Voss talking about earlier, and that is you have to keep playing. A lot of football out there. You saw the receiver was actually open and comes up with a big-time catch.
No, I think he dropped it.
Oh, he just dropped it.
Yep, went right through his numbers. And Savannah State had 6 first downs in the third quarter alone, and they've come up with back-to-back first downs here. So you know they've hit double figures as far as first downs are concerned. And I know that's not a great statistic to be talking about, but again, as a coach, you're looking for the positives. And the effort and the production in the second half has to be something that Coach Wilson is going to impress his players with.
Boy, that's a tough break. That ball was right there in the breadbasket, and the receiver was unable to haul it in. Meanwhile, that looks like a catch.
Tino did a nice job of standing there in the pocket and coming up with a catch. He went to a second or third read and found the guy over the middle, and then the young man turns and gains some extra yards.
2:20 to go here in the fourth quarter. Southern by 80. In the words of some of the greats, it's never over till it's over, but this one, folks, is over. Still running hard. You hear the pads popping all the way up here. That says a lot about all the young men out there still playing with pride.
Criswell on the carry for the Tigers.
Criswell popped by the defender, but another first down for Savannah State.
Now you have to be impressed with the way they continue to play. There's very little time left. We're under 2 minutes here in the game, but they just picked up their 3rd first down in a row. They didn't cross midfield at all in the first half, and now they've been over 3 or 4 times in the second.
Quick one-step, snap throw, completion, right side, 1:30 to go.
Pass is complete to number 81.
Call it second down and about 5.
Ken Butler on the stop.
Butler with the tackle. On the catch by McDonald. Tino Smith efficiently marching his team down the field. Looking, may have to take off here. Lets it fly at the last second, out of danger. Make it third down.
Better to be 3rd and 5 than 3rd and 15. Did a nice job there just getting rid of the ball because he was under heavy pressure.
1:09 to go for Coach Wilson and the long trip home. I can't imagine how much he'd love to see his team pick up a few points here.
Just keep having positive things happen. Get first downs. Sooner or later, somebody's going to miss a tackle. You'll make a play. Good catch, another first down.
You saw the Eagles showing pressure there.
Number 87, Jeremiah Harris.
And Jeremiah Harris, the sophomore from Lawrenceville, Georgia, makes a terrific catch. And another first down for Savannah State. 1 minute. Got to hustle. See if they can threaten to the end zone. Timeout for the Eagles.
Timeout, Georgia Southern. First timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
It's a good thing to see here. Georgia Southern still coaching. They're coaching the young guys, but there was a little mix up there with some alignment and some personnel. So they did the smart thing and called timeout just so they can coach those kids.
You love to see that, don't you?
That's what it's about. It's about watching growth. It isn't about what's going to happen tonight. It's about what's going to happen 3 years from now. Some of those guys that are on the field tonight will be very prominent members of the team in 2016. And that's what you're coaching for. You're coaching for the future.
And keep in mind, too, and Coach Fritz will tell you this, sometimes you can take a licking from a team and you point to that, and 2 or 3 years later, you serve them up on a platter. It can happen just like that. So you have to really learn from every opportunity. And I'm certain that Savannah State.
Georgia Southern. Their second timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
We'll learn from this one here tonight.
Yes, we will learn because this is 2 in a row. I don't understand this one.
So for the youngsters over at Georgia Southern, the first victory of 2014 after the disappointing loss in the opener to NC State. For Savannah State, it's again back to the drawing board, looking to make strides. The offensive output, when compared to last week, is down slightly. If you just look at the scoreboard, they scored 7 in that 61-7 defeat to Middle Tennessee State. But I think if you look at the yardage and the way that they've been able to move the ball, at least in spots tonight, I think there are certainly a few positives for the Tigers.
They were down inside the 5 on 2 occasions tonight, so they could have come away with some more points and didn't. Got away with one there. Very difficult to throw the ball late down the middle and expect good things to happen. You're throwing the ball down the middle, you better throw it on time.
Well, you're not kidding. That was almost a pick six going the other way with 42 seconds to play.
There were about 4 Georgia Southern people around it, and it went to the ground.
Big as Harley could taste that one. No such luck. 42 seconds to go in this one. Second down and long. Smith in the shotgun. Twins left, twins right. 4 men down for the Eagles. Pressure coming. And a very quick throw. And that one is dropped. It looked like that might have been hauled in there by Jeremiah Harris, but it falls to the turf with 37 ticks remaining. Third down.
He made a great effort, and to be perfectly honest with you, when teams are winning, these are catches that are made. When teams are losing, these are efforts that just are good efforts.
Harris will remember that one as one that got away. Third down. Smith. Empty backfield. Fires to the end zone, has a man wide open. And that is a Savannah State touchdown. Easy pitch and catch. That strike to Cantrell Frazier make it 83-9.
Good for Savannah State. It's a broken coverage up there. The corner squats where he thinks it's covered too, and he doesn't have any deep help behind him, and bang, woohoo. Came close to stepping out of bounds there, even as wide open as he was. But as they say, it's not over till the fat lady sings, and now they ended up with more point production than they had a week ago.
And then, of course, the point after try is blocked.
Good effort on the part of Georgia Southern. They kept coming. It was an important play for them. They made amends for it.
So the broken play ends up in a touchdown for Frazier, but the point after by John Barron is not high enough to escape the outstretched arms of the special teams of the Eagles. A forgettable night indeed for John Barron, as his club is now trailing by 74 points.
Wow.
You ever seen a score like this, 83-9?
Kevin, I don't think I have. I'm serious. I don't believe I've ever been involved in something like that, and I've had my butt kicked a few times. But I'm just amazed at the rapidity with which Georgia Southern executed.
Yep.
And again, I was very serious when I said that you could, if you took the numbers off the jerseys, I don't know if you could notice a dramatic difference between the first half and the second half. The only difference that I could see is the quarterbacks in the first half were a little bit more explosive, although the young man in the second did score a touchdown himself.
Yep. Ute did make his way to the end zone, to say nothing of the performance of Fabian Upshaw and Kevin Ellison. Matt Breida also getting into the end zone a couple times. Kentrellis Showers also getting into the end zone a pair of times. Those of you keeping score, 12 touchdowns in all for Georgia Southern. That ties a school mark. Coach Fritz and company now will likely kneel this one out and look forward to the contest against Georgia Tech coming up next weekend. A home opener in 2014 victory, as we look at the onside effort there. And that one is covered right around the 46-yard line. And it looks like Savannah State will take over. How about that?
That's a good sign. You keep playing. You keep showing the effort. You keep doing the things that you have to do. You get to work on some things. It's good for Georgia Southern. Their hands team can have a little bit of a lesson to be taught this coming week. There's something on tape that they can see. Constantly looking for positives, constantly looking for things that you can coach, that you can teach from.
And I want to give credit where credit is due. John Barron did a good job on that kickoff there, on that that onside kick. It's not easy. You have to kick the ball a certain way to get the top to sort of head down, then pop up the right way. He did it perfectly.
Yes, he did. He did a very nice job with it.
That one thrown away by Kershawn Wilson. Had no one downfield. Wisely pitches it out of bounds. Second down and 10 yards to go with 20 seconds to play.
Making good decisions. That's a huge part about being a quarterback. Getting the ball out of your hand in time and making decisions, making good decisions. And that was a good one on his part.
We'll see if the Eagles learn from their mistake the last time. We saw that busted coverage that led to the easy pitch and catch for the touchdown by Frazier.
Now right there's a point that Coach Wilson's going to have to use with his young men. Guy catches the ball about...
Savannah State, their second timeout, 30-second timeout.
Guy catches the ball 2 yards from the sideline. You're in a 2-minute offense. You just cost your team a timeout. You don't stop. You don't turn back into the field. You turn and you run out of bounds to stop the clock. So the first down will stop the clock, but stopping the clock by going out of bounds means it doesn't happen. It doesn't get started again until the snap. Coach Wilson had to call a timeout because of that little move there.
Now, you heard some of the boos spattering there, but you can understand that. The fans are saying, look, the game's over. But I certainly understand if I'm Coach Wilson, hey, listen, I've got 12 more seconds to play and to coach and to teach.
Absolutely. And you hit the operative word, to teach. Perfect example right there. He may have just taken that opportunity not to call the next play, but to tell the young man and tell everybody else, hey, guys, in situations like this, we got to turn and run out of bounds. That's a big part of your 2-minute offense, knowing when to get the ball out of bounds.
Last play likely for Wilson. Steps up, tries to fire it, and he's going to go down. And if you're a fan of the Eagles, that would seem to be a perfect play.
Savannah State, their third and final timeout. 30-second timeout.
Well, I was going to say it would seem to be a perfect way to wrap it up, but they're going to have to wait for one more play as the Tigers burn their final timeout. And again, you're right, as we take a look there, great shot by our crew. You see Coach Wilson still coaching and teaching at every opportunity.
Game of football is situational football, and players need to respond positively in every situation that's presented. Sometimes those situations happen for the first time in a game. You'd like to think as a coach you're thorough with everything, but whenever you can teach and point something out, you take advantage of that.
And Kershawn can't take off plays.
Not at all. And Georgia Southern has the opportunity now to teach their guys, hey, back up, keep them out of the end zone. You know, there's another opportunity, there's another situation. There's going to be some time when this is a 14-8 game or something, and Georgia Southern's going to have to make this play right here where they bat the ball down. Don't even try to catch it. Bat it down. Get it to the ground as quickly as you can.
Final play of the contest falls harmlessly to the turf. But it was a glorious opening home victory for the Georgia Southern Eagles as they put 83 points on the board and an 83-9 victory over the Savannah State Tigers. Your overall impression tonight, Coach?
And I'll be repetitive. I was extremely impressed with Georgia Southern's efficiency as an offensive football team. I was impressed with their ability to run as a defensive football team. I think Savannah State needs to get stronger. I understand that just a year ago they hired their first strength coach. It's evident. As a program, they need to get stronger and become stouter, especially in the defensive front.
It was a tough night for the Tigers, but certainly one to remember if you're a fan of the Eagles. And we certainly enjoyed bringing you the coverage from Paulson Stadium and a terrific crowd here tonight. For my partner, Coach Peter Voss, and the entire crew here at ESPN, I'm Kevin Cork. This has been a presentation of college football. Georgia Southern in style in Statesboro with an easy win and their home opener of 2014. We'll see you again next time.